All right, it's the last regular season home game here. Matsu Miners versus the Peninsula Oilers on MTA Fan Appreciation Day. The Matsu Miners already clinching the number one seed. The only thing that's going to matter in this ball game in terms of the playoff seeding is if the Oilers are going to have to travel back to Kenai. That will be the case if they're victorious tonight. However, if the Miners win, then the Oilers get to stay here, and then they will travel to Anchorage tomorrow, which is only about roughly 45 minutes to an hour of a drive down there in Mulcahy Stadium. So it almost sounds like a win here tonight will be beneficial to the Oilers. That is, of course, a win here for the Miners. If the Miners were to lose tonight and the Oilers were to win, it almost wouldn't work out in their favor.
Absolutely no. I guess this is where every Miners fan is kind of torn because, you know, you may want to send them back to Kenai, and if that's the case, then the Miners would have to lose here today. But at the same time, you want to go into the playoffs on a hot streak. So that's kind of where you feel a little bit torn. But I guess you could look at it as a plus or a win-win situation. No matter what happens here today. But this is the last regular season game of the year. I cannot believe we're already here at this point. 44 games.
No.
This will be the 44th, and we've done 3 on the Scout Showcase, Home Run Derby, All Star Game. So we've definitely done a lot since for our 2 months up here.
That's it. It's almost all the way down to an end. Tomorrow will be game one of the playoffs. First things first, we have to play here tonight. As Jordan mentioned, you kind of do feel torn as a Miners fan, but it is a win-win situation because if they win tonight, well, you go into the playoffs riding hot. If you don't win, then you send the Oilers back to Kenai, which would only matter if we get out of the first round anyways, because sending them back to Kenai does us no good unless we can get out of the first round. The first round is determined. The Matsu Miners will be facing the Anchorage Bucks no matter what happens in any other games going around the league tonight. That also includes this game right here. The Miners have clinched the number one seed. So when we come back, it will be your first place Matsu Miners against the second place Peninsula Oilers here on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. We'll take a quick break here for the national anthem. Then when we come back, first pitch and starting lineups here right on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. It's time for Matsu Miners baseball here for the last time in the regular season. Regular season finale here tonight against Peninsula Oilers. And before they come up to bat, we will give you the starting lineup for the Oilers. Leading things off, it's the center fielder, Darius Hill. Second, the shortstop, Trey Dawson. Batting third, it's the first baseman, Jonathan Washam. The cleanup hitter and designated hitter tonight for the Oilers, Seth DeWitt. Batting fifth, Brody Wofford, the left fielder. Sixth, it's the second baseman, Jeff Chaperon. The seventh hitter, right fielder, Daniel Speak. Eighth, it's the catcher, Jared Huber. And rounding out the order, it's the third baseman, Alex Seifert. On the bump for the Miners, it's going to be Jordan Frederick. Jordan Frederick out of Scottsdale Community College, but he will be transferring to Kansas State come the fall. The line on Frederick, this is his 8th game, second start. In his 16 2/3 innings of work, he's allowed 5 runs, all earned, 10 walks, 17 strikeouts. Comes in with a record of 2-1 and a 2.70 ERA. Frederick winds. Here's the first pitch of the ball game. Fastball high and outside for ball one to Darius Hill. The outfield for the Miners from left to right, Garrison Schwartz, Scooter Bynum, Cam Montgomery. And the 1-0 pitch. That one foul back to the backstop, so very quickly it's going to be 1-1 here on the center fielder, Darius Hill. Around the horn for the Miners, it's the third baseman, Angelo Armenta, the shortstop, Josh Bissonette, second baseman, Levi Jordan, first baseman, Jake Scudder. The 1-1 outside once again, going to run the count to 2-1. It's the battery of Jordan Frederick on the mound, Andy Cosgrove behind the plate for the Miners. Frederick rocks on the mound, delivers the 2-1, that one foul back. Same place as the last foul ball, which is right behind the backstop. 2-2 the count now on Darius Hill. Dan Collins on the call here alongside broadcast partner and official scorekeeper Jordan Swick. For the last time, Jordan, of the regular season, playoff baseball tomorrow.
Yeah, it's definitely a great feeling to have, and the Miners have home field advantage throughout the playoffs too. So we definitely hope it's going to be a long playoff for the Miners, because that would ultimately mean a championship, or at least they'd be in contention for it.
And it would give us quite a few more broadcasts. Here's the payoff pitch. Blooped in the air, left side. That's Josh Bisson at the shortstop. He's going to camp under and make the play for out number 1. Bring up the shortstop, Trey Dawson. During the Napa Auto Parts pregame show, there might have been a little technical difficulties with the audio. One of the main things that we were talking about during that pregame show, if the Oilers win tonight, then they will clinch the second seed and have to go all the way back to Kenai to play the first round of the playoffs. If the Miners win, which is what you think every Miners fan is going to want, then the Oilers get to comfortably stay here, and they will play in Anchorage against the Pilots, who will then be the number 2 seed tomorrow night in the first round of the playoffs. This one is a fly out to the right fielder, Cam Montgomery, for out number 2. So technically, if you're a Miners fan, it's a win-win situation tonight.
Yeah, absolutely is. And you know what? I guess the Miners wouldn't want to have it any other way either, because, you know, because the Miners have had destiny in their own hands, it puts them in this position. And, you know, they're thankful that they got the 1 seed, and now they host for all of the playoffs.
Here's the first pitch from Frederick to the number 3 hitter and first baseman, Jonathan Washam. Got to be careful with Washam. He's one of the better hitters on this Oilers club. He leads the team in batting average, comes in batting .342, 2 home runs, 14 RBIs in conference play. This one fouled, and it is now 0-2 on the first baseman, Jonathan Washam. Later on in the broadcast, we will have the son of GMP Christopher, Kevin Christopher, on, scheduled to come up to the booth in the 3rd inning. It's always a blast having Kevin in the broadcast booth. He is back, and he will be here all the way till the end of the season. He flies out when the team flies out, so that'll be sometime roughly a week from today, around anywhere from August 9th, between August 9th and the 12th. Here's the 1-2. Washam fouls that back and out of play. So he came to see some playoff baseball. Hopefully the boys give him a show, and they give the rest of the fans here to show. It's a big crowd tonight. Still see a ton of fans walking in. MTA Fan Appreciation Night. Every fan getting in for free. Here's the 1-2 from Frederick. Pops this one in the air. It's in the infield. That's Levi Jordan, the second baseman, who will make the grab for out number 3. So 3 up, 3 down. Go the Oilers in the top of the first inning. We now head to the bottom half of this inning with the Miners due up to bat here on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. Matsu Miners coming to bat for the first time this ball game here in the bottom of the first inning. First things first, it's the starting lineup for your Matsu Miners. Leading things off, it's the second baseman, Levi Jordan. Batting second, the shortstop, Josh Bissonette. Third, it's the general, Garrison Schwartz. Fourth, the cleanup man, Michael Donadio. Fifth, the first baseman, Jake Scudder. Sixth, it's Angelo Armenta. Seventh, the right fielder and 2016 ABL Home Run Derby champ, Cam Montgomery. Eighth, the catcher, Andy Cosgrove. And ninth, it's the center fielder, Scooter Bynum. On the mound for the Peninsula Oilers, Junior Ramirez. Junior Ramirez has only played in 2 games, has pitched in 2 innings this season, at least in conference play, that is. In those 2 innings, he's surrendered 2 hits, 2 runs. They were both earned. 4 walks, 1 strikeout, comes in with no record. The ERA, because he's only pitched in 2 innings and surrendered 2 runs, at 9. So Junior Ramirez, obviously one of those late season pickups from Queens, New York, Faulkner University.
And you know, both of his games that he's faced this season, he played against the Chinooks, who, not to bash them by any means, but they don't necessarily have the best talent in the league. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of outing we get out of Junior Ramirez here today, as he does prove to be a little wild from time to time.
Or one thing you could say about the Chinooks, they are 10 games out of first, a record of 16-27 for a reason. We could put it at that. 2-0 the count here to Levi Jordan, and actually those 2 conference games for Junior Ramirez, those are the only games he's played in. He hasn't played in any non-conference games. This one sent into left field. That's Wofford backing up toward the wall. Going to run into the wall, but make the catch for out number 1. It's going to bring up the shortstop, Josh Bissonette. It will be interesting to see the kind of play we get out of Junior Ramirez. And also how many innings he goes. He's made 2 appearances, has only pitched in 2 innings this entire ABL season. So exactly how long can he go? You don't know. He winds. Here's the pitch. Downstairs for ball 1. The Oilers have played a ton of games just this past week, multiple doubleheaders. And we were wondering when they were here the last time, that was on Saturday, July 30th, what they were going to do for their remaining games. They played a doubleheader against the Miners here, which the Miners split. They lost the first game, won the second game, and they threw Justin Montgomery and Don Bazzani at us. And the day before, they tossed Billy Oxford. So those are their 3 biggest arms. And we wondered what they would do for the last week of the season with this rotation. And so far, like anybody would have guessed, they haven't pitched Oxford, Bazzani, or Montgomery again, obviously saving them for the playoffs, which begin tomorrow. 3-0 pitch to Bissonette. He takes all the way for strike 1. It's Justin Phillips behind the plate. Marcus Dolan at first. Silas Drayden at third. Justin Phillips calling balls and strikes with a different uniform than the rest of the lads. Has the baby blue umpire shirt on. There's the 3-1. That one outside, so it's going to be ball four to Josh Bissonette. It's the first base runner of the ball game.
And this is something I just mentioned during Levi Jordan's at bat. The Ramirez can be wild from time to time. He had 3 walks in 1 inning against the Chinooks one time, and he has struggled in that department. He had a 2-0 count on Levi Jordan before he flied out to left field, and then he now walked Josh Bissonette here on 5 pitches. So we'll see if the Miners tend to be a little bit more aggressive, or if they want him to spot the fastball.
So here's the general, Garrison Schwartz. He is the ABL's top hitting prospect this season. It's quite a nice accolade to bring back home. Schwartz down on the count 0-1. Here's the pitch way outside. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Josh Bissonette at first here in the bottom of the first inning. Scoreless between the Oilers and the Miners. All ABL designated hitter Michael Donadio on deck. Here's the 1-1. Way outside. Almost looked like Junior Ramirez lost the ears on that one. Count now 2-1. Jared Huber having to reach over to the other side of the batter's box just to grab that one.
And he's thrown 11 pitches, 3 strikes to 8 balls.
And one of those strikes being the fly out by Levi Jordan. That one way inside on Garrison, 3-1. I said it would be interesting to see how long he goes because he's played in 2 games and went 2 innings this season. So how much work could that arm take? But now I'm wondering if he can even get out of the early innings just because of his control. Doesn't matter how many pitches he throws. If he can't find the strike zone, how long can you possibly leave him out here? Here's a 3-1. Schwartz is going to bloop this one in the air. That's the left fielder Wofford again, who settles under and makes the grab for out number 2.
Well, now, you make an interesting point there, Dan, but at the same time, I want to go back to a game that happened, I believe it was just last week. It was the combined no-no. Jacob Huey went 5 innings. He gave up 8 walks after all, but he was able to get outs anyways because of his defense. The defense was tremendous behind not just Huey, but Wyatt and Frederick and Floyd, and it was just a great effort in that combined no-hitter.
First pitch to Donadio does catch part of the strike zone. Looks like it was at the knees, says home plate umpire Justin Phillips. So 0-1 the count on Donnie Baseball. Michael Donadio comes into this ball game batting .333 on the season, 1 home run, 24 RBIs. Ramirez coming from the stretch, and this one right back at him. He's going to make the grab for out number 3. So Michael Donadio absolutely scalding that ball. It's going to be a hang with him, and the Miners go down. No runs, no hits, 1 man left on base. We head to the top of the second here on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. Welcome back to Matsu Miners Baseball here on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. Top of the second inning, Seth DeWitt, Brody Wofford, Jeff Chaperon due up for the Peninsula Oilers. Here's the first pitch from Jordan Frederick, right down Broadway for strike one. Seth DeWitt, an all-star for this Oilers ball club. He's going to take that pitch. This time it's low for a ball. So 1-1 the count now. On the cleanup hitter and designated hitter tonight, Seth DeWitt. Frederick getting the signs. Here's his windup. Here's his pitch. This one hit towards foul territory, and the first baseman, Jake Scudder, is going to have no play. So he'll move the count to 1-2. Fans still roaming into the ballpark here. I'm kind of excited to get the attendance number tonight. It's going to take till about the 7th or 8th inning before we get the official attendance. But so far, hard to see any empty seats. 1-2 pitch high, 2-2. Actually, if you look all the way down both the right field and left field line, a lot of people bringing their own seats, patio-style seats, and setting up shop over there. It's 325 down the left and right field lines here. 390 straightaway center, and this one's hit toward right field. That's Cam Montgomery who makes the grab for out number 1. 345 in the right center field gap. 342 in the left center field gap. So here comes the left fielder, Brody Wofford. I remember back in the days of yore, we were told his name was Brody Wooford. We've since discovered that that is not the way to pronounce the gentleman's name. So Brody Wofford it is.
And it actually makes us question every single name on this team. You know, Seifert looks like Seifert, and there's a couple others too.
This one popped up. Andy Cosgrove giving a chase. So is third baseman Angelo Armenta. They're going to run out of room, however. It's funny when you see the Oilers coming to town to end the regular season. Kind of brings back memories of when we were down there, that first road trip in Kenai. Back-to-back games.
It seems like it was forever ago, and it kind of was. It was about 2 months ago.
Yeah, exactly. Almost 2 months. It was June 8th and 9th, those games were. 7 p.m. starts in Kenai, Alaska. The first road trip we ever had, and it was a long one. There's a 2-1 pitch from Frederick. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Any fond moments from that road trip?
I don't know. You know,
To stay at the Bingo Hilton, perhaps?
I mean, that was definitely crazy.
There was an experience, that's for sure.
It was an experience.
The barracks, staying in the barracks?
Because not many broadcasters get to experience it. Usually the Miners will head on down there in the middle of the season, and that's usually when every single player is up here.
2-2 pitch. Good breaking ball there. Wofford is going to look at it, and it's strike 3.
So because there's more players on the roster, that forces us into the hotel. Not necessarily complaining,
right?
But because we had to go to Kenai in the very first week of the season, that's why we got to experience the Bingo Hilton. And you know what? I'm kind of glad that I got to experience the Hilton. But at the same time, I'm glad to be done.
This one chopped over to Josh Bissonette at shortstop. He's a good one, so he's going to suck it up, throw it on over to first in time for out number 3. It's another 1-2-3 inning here for the Oilers. We now head to the bottom of the second inning. Jake Scudder, Angelo Armenta, and Cam Montgomery due up for the Miners here on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. To the bottom of the second inning we go. 2016 ABL Home Run Derby participant and all-star Jake Scudder at the dish. Batting from the left-handed side. Here's the first pitch from Junior Ramirez. It is going to be driven in the air, and that is a shortstop, Trey Dawson, who travels all the way out to left field to make that play for out number 1. Up coming to the dish now is the third baseman, Angelo Armenta, who could basically play anywhere in the infield. Typically, he's either at third or short. We have seen him at second and first and behind the plate. So the jack of all trades in the infield is the infielder out of USC. Takes that first pitch outside from Junior Ramirez. Angelo Armenta throws right, but he is a switch hitter. So once again, another Miners batter batting in the left side here against the right-handed hurler, Junior Ramirez. The 1-0 from Ramirez. Fastball paints the outside part of the plate, strike 1.
And Armenta, the only switch hitter on this ball club. And, the Miners, to begin the year, were supposed to have one guy only, and that was supposed to be Brady Whalen, who was drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals. But when he couldn't come up, we needed another position player. So we called Angelo Armenta. He came up here, and it just so happens to be that he's also a switch hitter. So the Miners getting a switch hitter in return.
And a collegiate experience switch hitter, as this one is going to be hit out to center field. That's Darius Hill, and that's a Little League style play for him to make for out number 2. And here comes the right fielder, Cam Montgomery, strolling up to the dish.
Now batting, your right fielder, number 16, Cam Montgomery.
Cam Montgomery has been doing well the second half of the season. Got that batting average up to 235. He has 6 doubles on the season, 2 triples, 1 home run, and 11 RBIs.
Those 2 triples were in the same game against the Pilots here at home, in which Sean Kiersey Jr., the center fielder, don't know why, kept playing him in, and it happened back-to-back at-bats. So Montgomery saw that, and he personally told us that he was going to try to hit it over his head, and he exactly did that both times.
Montgomery's last game was on July 31st as he fouls that pitch off his leg. Count now 0-2 on Montgomery with 2 outs here. Montgomery is on a 3-game hitting streak, however. Within that time span, he is batting 4 for 12. 0-2 count on him now. Junior Ramirez looks set and ready to go. Ramirez now getting the signs. He winds and fires away. Popped foul for Cam Montgomery in territory, but Washam is actually there to make the play. So it's a 1-2-3 inning here for Junior Ramirez. We are done with 2 innings of baseball here and still no score at Herman Brothers Field on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. Top of the third inning here at Herman Brothers Field. Right fielder Daniel Speak leading it off. And up into the booth now with us. We promised you that he would be here in the first inning. We said by the third inning we are expecting Kevin Christopher, son of Matsu Miners GM Pete. Kev, how you feeling, bud?
Feeling good. Great to be back at the home field, watch the Miners play again.
So we mentioned to the crowd that you are going to be here all the way up until the duration of the playoffs are over. You fly out basically around the same time the players fly out. So did you come up here just strictly for this playoff run?
Yes. I was back at work, and I was like, I kind of want to make it back up here. So I put in my 2 weeks notice, and I came back up.
And here you are watching Matsu Miners baseball. So how's Pop's been lately? Is he kind of freaking out a little bit now that playoff baseball's roaming around the corner?
I think he's trying to remain calm, but at the same time, he's kind of, cards are going to fall where they may with the playoffs. So,
and that's something we've been talking about this whole broadcast. In the pregame show, we said, you know what? When all is said and done, it's a win-win situation, whether the Miners win here tonight or if they lose. Because if they lose, of course, as we talked about before the game, they send the Oilers back to Kenai. So it's kind of one of those things, though, where I feel you just have to let the cards unfold here, as you worded it, and that is going to be swing and a miss on Daniel Speak for a strikeout in the first out of this inning.
definitely let the cards fall where they may, and hopefully we get a lot of innings out of Jordan, who I just met today because he wasn't here when I was up here last time.
Yeah.
So I constantly walked through the clubhouse. I'm like, I don't know that face. So I went up, introduced myself, but hopefully we get a lot of innings out of him today and don't waste our pitching that much. But either way, the Oilers have already been on the road for like a week.
Yes.
So if they stay up here, they're here for a while, and then or they have to drive 4 hours back down to Kenai. It's
not the quickest trip to make. Is this
that
one
ball's going to carry?
It is carrying, but that is Cam Montgomery who has a good read on it, and that is going to be quickly now 2 up, 2 down here for the Oilers in the top of the third inning. And that's actually what I was telling Jordan in between innings. We could go back and forth with who's going to win this ball game. Are the Oilers trying their hardest? At the end of the day, how's about the Miners just win this ball game, hopefully, and then you just play the first round, do the best you could. Hopefully you advance, and then you just take care of business from there on out.
Yep, definitely. And it's different from last year because last year we had the 2 separate leagues, and we didn't see the Bucks that much last year going into the playoffs. But this year we've seen all the teams. We know all the tricks they've got. So it's going to be an interesting playoffs.
So we talked about how your papa might be feeling around this time of year, but what about you as somewhat of a fan of this team, a lifelong fan? You could say, what's it like for you, your nerves this time of year?
They're all over the place. I can't lie. I'm jittery.
And Kevin, you've seen this team in numerous amount of times so far this season. So, first off, what are your thoughts so far on this 2016 baseball squad?
It's solid. Best way to describe it, as BT said at the dinner, the host family dinner. This team's just solid all around. I mean, solid infield, good outfield, good defense. Great hitting, and great pitching. It's steady, and that's a lot to ask for from a team of guys that just get together. So.
Yeah, and that pitching is so far shown off here with Jordan Frederick. 9 up, 9 down for him as we now head to the bottom of the third inning. It's Cosgrove, Bynum, and Jordan Dew up here for your Matsu Miners on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. Andy Cosgrove, Matsu Miners catcher, leading things off here in the bottom of the third. Still scoreless here against the Oilers and the Miners. This is going to be Andy Cosgrove's first plate appearance of the day. And that one nearly hits him. Andy Cosgrove was hit last night in the sweet spot. And Kevin, your thoughts on catcher Andy Cosgrove?
He's the X factor for this whole run because he's the only catcher we got. So I may not be liking how far inside he's being pitched, but that's just me.
Yeah, Cosgrove crowds the plate up there a little bit. And he has been hit quite a few times this year so far. The 2-0 from Ramirez. That one inside again, but Cosgrove is going to foul that one off. So 2-1 the count now on Andy Cosgrove. And that's one thing you really have to tip your cap to Andy Cosgrove from now all the way to whenever the last game of the season is for the Miners. Hopefully that last game being August 7th, and hopefully that being the championship winner, because he is going to take a lot of time behind the plate there. He is the only true catcher on the staff. So,
yep. And then Wyatt's not catching anymore. So we've got Armenta as the backup, but he's mainly a corner / middle infielder. So Cosgrove is the guy, and we love having him behind the plate because last time I was on the broadcast, I mean, he's a good catcher. He's what you want a catcher. Good defensively, pretty good hitter. Ooh, that was ooh.
He's going to swing and miss through that one. At this point, though, especially deeper in the playoff run, it's going to really, you would tend to think catch up to him. Earlier on, it was about a week ago or so, we were interviewing head coach Ben Taylor about Andy Cosgrove, and at the time also about Zach Sharpley, the two catchers. Zach Sharpley was still on the team at that time before he had to go back home for a rehab stint. And the way he worded it was any little bit of offense you get out of Andy Cosgrove is just going to be a bonus. And that is going to be true. Those words are going to be truer than anything now with the next couple days going, because with as much as he's going to have to be behind the plate, basically anything definitely is a bonus offensively that you get from him.
Well, with your catcher, you want to be good defensively, and if he can hit, that's a plus. But it's big for him. He's the king of the field when he's out there, so you want to be solid. And Cosgrove has proven time and time again that he's a good catcher.
It is a 1-1 count here on the center fielder, Scooter Bynum. This is also his first plate appearance. This one is going to be hit left side foul territory, and is going to be a souvenir for a lucky fan. And quite the crowd on hand tonight. We've been mentioning it.
Oh, it's only going to get bigger.
Time and time again. That is because MTA Fan Appreciation Night here at the ballpark. And if you were lucky enough to come at a very early time, then you would have had a tasty grill from the grill master, Kevin Christopher, who is no longer manning the grill, however.
I always try and stack the grill before the game starts, because right after the players get done with BP, they just come running in. Oh, that's the triangle of death over there.
There it is. Nobody making the play, however. That was Dawson, Seifert, and Wofford running out for the play, but falling in between that triangle of death, as Kevin likes to call it.
There's like 3 or 4 on the field. It's like in between, on the infield between third, home, and the mound, and flip it to the other side, first, home, then the mound. It's like right in between there. It's kind of like there's a bunt there. You're kind of, and then it's like in between the middle infielders, all the infielders and the outfielders, just in between the triangles, between their positioning. It's just always a toss-up between who's going to get to the ball.
We await the 1-2 here from Junior Ramirez. He rocks at the mound. Here's his pitch. This one slapped again. Foul from Scooter Bynum.
He's got some tail on the ball.
So this is actually for Ramirez, his third game of the season. He's only pitched in 2 games, 2 innings. Comes in with an ERA of 9.0, so I'm guessing this is one of those late season pickups for the Oilers, a guy they had to get. They needed that extra arm to go through that very long road stint, which they are finally wrapping up, at least in terms of the regular season, here tonight at Herman Brothers Field. That one low and inside, but home plate umpire Justin Phillips is going to say it caught the knees for a strikeout. Scooter Bynum walking back to the dugout has a few words with Phillips, but ultimately he does have the last call. I thought that was a ball myself, but broadcasters don't get to make that decision now, do they?
But, yeah, no, definitely the playoffs are going to be interesting because, you know, you have like all these kids in college, you have your super regionals and stuff like that, and that's a 3-game series, but you have like a week after for your next one. This is going to be 2 3-game series back to back, and pitching is going to be.
Is this the first time you've seen that kind of a format?
Yep, we had the 3-game series last year, which the outcome was different, but it was still probably most exciting thing I've ever been a part of. It was like a super regional at like College World Series level. It was intense gameplay.
Now, Kevin, how important is it to necessarily win the very first game of the series? Does
Huge.
that set the tone?
Huge. It sets the tone because, that's a rip by that ball's carrying.
And it's going to fall right in front of the right fielder, Daniel Speak. So very nicely done. It is a 2-out single for Levi Jordan.
But it's huge because let's look at this. You go into a doubleheader and you're looking to split a doubleheader. Sweeping a doubleheader is a hard thing to do. It just is. Mostly because, you got, especially with us having Cosgrove being the only catcher, he's going to catch back-to-back games. He plays doubleheader.
Yeah,
that's
keep in mind it's
murder.
9 innings.
That's
instead of the normal
murder
7.
on the knees. But it's huge to win the first game because you put the pressure on them to the next day. I mean, that's it.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's what happened last year, and it actually ended up hurting the Miners because it was the Anchorage Bucks who won the first game, and they really set the tone because that means the Miners had to win both of the games, 2 9-inning games in the same day in order to take home the crown.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that did not happen.
Yeah, it's you putting the pressure on the other team. You're trying to get, like I said, you set the tone. You want to put them on the edge. You want to get them off their game plan because each of these teams is going to come in there with a game plan to go through the series. And if you can throw off what they're doing, that's always good for you. So,
how do you like the format of the postseason this year? I know
better
it's a little
than
bit
last
different.
year.
Really?
Because there goes Levi.
Levi Jordan
He's
with
got
a
it.
great jump there, and absolutely he does.
See, that's a case of stealing on the pitcher.
Yeah, he took off before Ramirez even tossed that up to home plate. That was a Ricky Henderson style jump there by Levi Jordan. He swiped second base easily.
That's why as a pitcher, you got to mix up how you do it. Like, maybe I take one, maybe I'll take 3 looks this next time. Maybe I won't look at all, just go. If you start getting to a rhythm, I'll take 1 look, wait a second, and go. Players are going to see that and just gone.
So, Kevin, you were just saying that you prefer the format this season compared to last season. Why is that?
Well, first, the league, we said 6 teams, and the league was split up 2 3-team divisions, and we played the 2 teams in your division 13 times a piece, and you played the other teams 5 times a piece. So you go into that World Series match not knowing those teams as well as your other teams, and you're kind of just – you're more blind. You're used to the other teams. And this year, everyone's played each other evenly, so it's going to be a lot better matchup. And I think it's going to be a lot more on the coaches as well, spacing out their pitching over the playoff series.
Do you feel like this kind of postseason format where the 1 seed plays the 4 and the 2 plays the 3, do you feel like it's easier for, say the 4 team or maybe the 3 seed to potentially win the top of the World Series, and in which case would not have been possible just a year ago?
I think it is fair. I mean, you got teams because that's a rip up the middle.
And that is going to get past
Levi,
Chaperone there at second. Levi Jordan is being
cut it
waved
off, buddy.
around. And there we have it. The Miners draw first blood here in the bottom of the 3rd inning after that RBI single off the bat of Josh Bissonette. Yeah, ourselves a 1-0 ball game here, gentlemen.
Good play on the center fielder, not trying to throw it in because Bissonette was already about a third of the way past first base, and he definitely would have gone if he threw it home. But, I like this play better. I mean, it used to be the end of the season, most wins, you win the league, and that's kind of counterproductive. You have a team that runs away with it. And then 2 divisions, you play the same teams over and over again. That gets boring. I like this style. It's kind of a toss-up as to, who's going to come out on top. You can have a Cinderella at the end. And I think it's just better overall. And it's the same amount of excitement. And what's great is 3-game series, anything can happen. It's baseball. Team can go cold. Team can get hot.
That's what me and Dan have been saying all season long is, you just got to get hot at the right moment.
That was a rocket on the press box. Luckily that didn't.
I know where Schwartz sleeps. You better be careful with that aim.
He actually does. He sleeps in the Christopher residence. There you have it. It's Garrison Schwartz and Brooks Stotler, the 2 players that are being housed by the Christophers this summer. And one thing about baseball being a funny game and anybody could win in any series, one thing we've been mentioning, it doesn't matter who you face in that first round. As Schwartz checks up his swing, did he go around?
Nah.
No, says the umpiring crew. But that means within those series, you have to start, you would think a coach would have to start his best arms in that first series and not try to save them for the championship round because you can't necessarily gamble all the house money on that because you need to make sure you at least make it.
Well, that was a good curveball. But yeah, no, that's definitely, and that's what's going to make this better is that, last year, both teams just saved the best arms to throw in. But now it's like you got to go all in at the start because you don't want to get in trouble with that. Oh, I'm going to try and save it up because at the end of the day, you don't want to look back and say, I should have started this guy instead of this guy. You need to focus on this game at hand.
Absolutely. And the Miners do go down here after that strikeout by Schwartz now in the bottom of the third inning. As we head to the fourth here, still scoreless. You're listening to Matsu Miners Baseball and your Matsu Miners Radio Network. Darius Hill, the leadoff man here, leading things off in the top of the fourth inning. It is a 1-0 ball game here at Herman Brothers Field. Miners scoring that first run back in the bottom half of the third, thanks to the RBI single by Josh Bissonette.
And that was set up by that stolen. Oh, back, Cam. Get back.
There we go. Cam is in
that right field's a treacherous area with that wind.
He's been playing some good right field lately for the boys, and thankfully he does make that grab for out number one, and that will bring up the shortstop, Trey Dawson here.
That ball will keep on going in right field. If there's the slightest wind, it just...
And we've noticed that Cam Montgomery lots of times this year had to really get on his horse out there in right field to make a couple plays.
But that's the little things about playing at home field. You know the intricates.
And this one is going to be a bloop single right in front of Scooter Bynum. So that is the very first hit of the ball game for the Oilers. It took him here with one out in the fourth inning.
Well, there goes my prediction.
To get that base runner aboard. Was it a perfect game or a no-no that you predicted?
I said, watch, no-no tonight. As I walked by my dad, I was like, there's going to be a no-no tonight.
And no. You actually missed the no-no. You missed the combined no-hitter.
I did.
The 8-4 no-hitter. It was 10 walks in that game. The Miners still victorious 8-4, and they needed...
I would have paid to see my dad during that game.
They needed 4 pitchers. There's a whole lot. Yeah, there's one thing the GM does not like. It's walks.
Oh, no.
Especially the leadoff walk.
But you have to like no-hitters, especially if you come out on top.
Yeah, it's just... leadoff walks are
Brutal.
That's the crippling. It's the more the leadoff. If the leadoff runner gets on an inning, they're more likely to score because it's a momentum thing.
And you have that one runner to play with if you want to try to make him steal a
over,
base. If you want to play a little small ball, get him over to third, get the sac fly. You could finally get something generating there.
Yeah, see, they get guys on, but there's one out now. He's not gonna lay down bunt. I mean, 2 outs, guy on second.
Frederick is going to throw over, but sliding back in safely is Trey Dawson. It was his first hit of the ball game, first hit for any Oilers man for that matter. We just mentioned that Kevin's prediction of the no-no getting broken up this inning. That one, a little bit of chin music for first baseman Jonathan Washam. Upstairs for ball one. That evens up the count now. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. And a runner at first for the Peninsula Oilers. They trail it by a score 1-0 here.
Their
in the
fate
fourth
is
inning.
in their hands. Their fate is in their hands in this game, whether they go back or stay here.
Something tells me they almost wouldn't mind staying here.
Yeah, because I mean, from what I've been told, they've packed up, moved out of the host family's house, and they've already been on the road for a week. And for them, if they have to go all the way back to Kenai, sure, it's home field advantage, but it's a 4-hour bus trip for them there, and then a 4-hour bus trip up here if they advance. So, or up to whoever wins. I hope it's the Miners.
Well, yeah, that's close to 8 hours of traveling just in a couple days after you've been spending a lot of time down here in the Palmer, Chugiak, and Anchorage areas. This one going to be popped up. Second baseman Levi Jordan heading toward the foul territory. He's right by the foul line there behind first base. He's going to make the grab for out number 2.
But yeah, it's going to be a battle of staminas definitely going in. And I think that's where we hold the edge. I think we have enough pitchers to starting pitching to get through it. And I think whoever throws, we advance. Whoever threw the first throws tomorrow might be able to go on Sunday if we need them.
Yeah, I would say that our pitching is top notch, probably the best rotation in the league. We had a 6-man rotation pretty much for the last few weeks. It's going to be a 5-man rotation now, from what we understand. But at the same time, it all comes down to who has the best pitching, and
who's on and who's off. It's all game of streaks. Is baseball.
And one thing we're really going to hopefully see is the pitching so far. It doesn't matter who you run out there has been spectacular. It seems like the Miners could always get a W if they get those clutch hits. It's all going to come down to who gets the clutch hits in these big playoff scenarios.
It's timely hitting.
Yes.
Timely hitting wins games. Good pitching and timely. You don't have to have it like a team that just rakes. I mean, if you get move guys over when you need to, get those base hits, like Levi's on second, Bissonnette gets a single up the middle. Little plays, score runs. And you can't ask for anything more.
And actually, that was a 2-out RBI single for Josh Bissonnette, so you couldn't ask for anything better in that situation. That one does catch part of the strike zone, says home plate umpire Justin Phillips. 2-1 the count now on Seth DeWitt.
And it really has to make you wonder what kind of offense is going to show up for this playoffs. This is a team where, they can hit their way on so many times. We've seen them hit 24 hits and a 20 to 5 or something was the score.
Yeah, they put up 20 runs against the Bucks that night, 24 hits.
And this is also a team who could only get 1 or 2 hits in the game. So it really just depends on the offense, because it really seems like, everybody builds off each other. Once somebody gets going, everybody starts going, and that's definitely great to see.
Yeah, definitely. And what's great about this lineup is each of these guys can get, in the zone and get a little en fuego during the games, and it's great to see.
It's definitely a contagious type of offense. There goes the runner, but it's not going to matter. That one is fouled back by Seth DeWitt, and now that runs the count full.
And he'll be taking off on this pitch too.
Absolutely, with the 3-2 count and 2 outs. All he has to do is get a slight lead over there, wait for Frederick to commit to home plate, and he will be taken off.
Scudder's going to try and keep him on a little bit. That's the thing with the little things. See, Scudder's keeping semi-close to him and not letting him get that just off to the races.
There he goes now, but it's
beautiful changeup.
Not going to matter, though. That was an absolute beauty, and it results in a swing and a miss by Seth DeWitt. The Oilers do get their first hit of the ball game with Trey Dawson, but they leave right there at first base with that swing and a miss by Seth DeWitt. We now head to the bottom of the 4th inning. It's Donadio, Scudder, and Armenta due up here. You're listening to Matsu Miners Baseball on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. Donnie Baseball, Michael Donadio leads it off here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
He got robbed his first at bat.
Yeah, it was an absolute beam right back where it came from. It resulted in a line out right back to the pitcher, Junior Ramirez. And that's something Donnie Baseball's been doing a lot lately. The past couple of weeks, even last night in Chugiak, he has just been hitting the ball extremely hard, whether it be for a hit or an out.
And that's what you like to see. True power is how hard the ball comes off the bat. You don't have to hit a lot of home runs, but if that ball comes off your bat rocketing, that's what power is. And Donadio showed that.
This one is going to be a slight dribbler.
Up.
Is Junior Ramirez going to get there in time? Yes, he is, for the 4-1 putout. And for the first time in a long time, Donnie Baseball doesn't hit a ball that hard.
We jinxed him.
There is such thing as jinx. Yes, there is, especially we believe that here up in the broadcast booth. Now brings up the first baseman, Jake Scudder. He's 0 for 1 on the night. Flew out to the shortstop, Trey Dawson, back in his first at-bat in the 2nd inning.
But that's good awareness by the pitcher. He doesn't go to cover. Donadio probably gets an infield single.
Junior Ramirez exactly where he should be, even though he hasn't played much this summer, still showing off a good enough baseball IQ, made the right decision to get over there and cover the bag. It resulted in out number 1 here in the bottom of the 4th. Jake Scudder now at the dish. Angelo Armenta in the on-deck circle.
And that's a huge thing with the playoffs. Try not to psych yourself out, that is a rip.
Jake Scudder, in the words of Kevin Christopher, ripping that ball into right field. It's going to land right in front of Daniel Speak, and we have ourselves a 1-out single here in the bottom of the 4th.
But it's like not trying to psych yourself out. You got to stay calm. There's another game. Go out there. You got to be aware of where you're at, but still not try to psych yourself out, because baseball is about, this is the great Yogi Berra say, 90% of baseball is half mental.
And especially with, hopefully for the Miners, they would be playing 2 playoff series if they could get past the first one. That series starts tomorrow night at 6 p.m. against the Anchorage Bucks, and then Game 2 will be 2 p.m. the following day. That's going to be August 5th, and if necessary, a Game 3 will be played. It is slated for 6 p.m., but it will start roughly 45 minutes after Game 1, which once again is a 2 p.m. start for Game 2. And while we have a quick moment, Dr. K's Pediatric Dentistry is a beautiful, brand new state-of-the-art dental office and friendly and convenient Palmer, especially designed for children. Your child's comfort and safety is their top priority. Check them out online at matsumos.com or call 745-KIDS. That's 745-5437. That latest pitch outside to Armenta. So 2-1 the count now.
But I think, like I said, I think it's going to be great, overall, seeing how both series go, because I think the Oilers and Pilots is a good matchup. They both got good pitching. And I think the Bucks have proved to be a very, very worthy opponents over the season to us. So I think it's going to be interesting how it all plays out.
This one popped up in the air. That's Brody Wofford out there in left field who's going to make the grab. So now 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. Jake Scudder still at first. He singled just a couple batters ago. And I know that your mom and dad, especially when they're just out and about in the Valley community, see a lot of fans and hear a lot of feedback about this team and the organization. You have been down in the lower 48, as the Alaskans like to call it, for the majority of the time. But have you heard any sort of feedback by the fans about what they're thinking about this new playoff format?
I haven't really heard much, but I think it's I think in the end, if we win, I'll be like, yeah, I loved it.
Right.
If heaven forbid it doesn't go our way, I'm like, we should have won the regular league. But it's get ball,
hit hard. Wofford
get
is at
ball.
The track. He looks up, and it is off the wall. Jake Scudder being waved around by skipper Ben Taylor. Is there going to be a throw to the plate? The answer is no. Jake Scudder is going to reach home fairly easily. That's the second run of the ball game, thanks to the RBI double off the bat of Cam Montgomery. We have ourselves a 2-0 ball game here in the bottom of the 4th inning at Herman Brothers Field.
Called it.
Your dark horse.
My dark horse, Cam Montgomery.
He's been showing off, I should probably say, quite a little bit of power.
That was against the wind, and that went to the 350 on the fence. That ball was crushed.
He has tremendous power, some fantastic raw power. And speaking of raw power, I don't want to hear who you think maybe is the best, because I would take, you've been watching Miners baseball for a while, but who are some guys that remind you of Cam Montgomery. Some guys from that played for the Miners that just have spectacular type of raw power. Someone like a Cam Montgomery.
Ooh. I gotta delve back into the mind box. Some guys that remind
Christian
me of
Stewart, perhaps.
Christian Stewart. I never really saw that summer because I was playing Legion baseball. I didn't get to watch that many games. I did get to play against the Miners one time. That was fun. But the I would say guys like Kyle Jensen played for us in like 2007, 2008. Had that kind of raw power. It's there. It just needs to come out. There was guys like we had a guy in 2010, Adam Martin, who won the home run derby then. He just had that raw power. And after the home run derby, he heated up. So it's
actually what's happened for Cam Montgomery.
And that's why I've been saying that I think Cam's going to start catching on fire, because after Adam in 2010 won that home run derby,
Is it maybe a confidence thing? You participate in the home run derby, you see a lot of balls go over the fence, especially if you're going to be the one who wins it. So maybe just a lot of confidence in yourself, knowing you can do that. You have that kind of potential and that kind of power to jack the ball right over the fence.
Definitely, especially when he hit like the 30-some-odd home runs. He's not just golfing. He's getting that good contact, getting that backspin on the ball. And, it makes you feel better. I mean, you hit 30 home runs. You mean you ain't going to go, eh.
Absolutely. 30-plus home runs, actually. That also 13. It was a Baker's dozen in the first round and a Baker's dozen again in the last round. Something we won't forget about that night. Chaperone keeping Montgomery honest there at second, and it's going to be another foul ball off the bat of catcher Andy Cosgrove. The count remains 1-2 on him with 2 outs.
But, it's also with this team, I've seen a lot, like if one guy starts like cooling down a little bit, there's always another guy that heats up. And that's the mark of a great team, is when, they don't fall apart when there's like, if, a main guy starts going cold. I've seen that these guys, like one guy will start hitting another guy. It's like there's people stepping up, filling that hole.
This one is going to be off the elbow of Andy Cosgrove. It's not like he's going to have to put in a lot of work at catcher as is. He's going to be
put that man in bubble wrap,
eating up the miles as the catcher, and now hit by pitch for the second time in as many nights as Andy Cosgrove. He'll take first base.
We'll have to ask him which one hurt more. Yesterday on the car ride back here to Herman Brothers Field, he said that one definitely hurt. He felt it, and he sits right behind us. He was pointing right onto the back where he got hit. It was like right around the shoulder blade. It was like a very tender spot. And, that one definitely couldn't feel.
The best thing to do when you're about to get hit by a pitch, you just turn, drop the bat, and hope it's an off-speed pitch and hits you in the back. If it's a fastball, it's going to hurt.
But perhaps it could be easier said than done, just getting out of the way.
Oh, yeah. No, you were taught to, you start to get out of the way, and then in the heat of the moment, you're just kind of like, oh.
That one foul back. PA announcer Wolfgang Winter telling them easy on the merchandise. Congratulations to our PA announcer. He won the team quilt from last year, as we're saying, Kevin. Those are the quilts from last year. Yep. They are T-shirts from all the ball players up here of their respective schools, made into a quilt, and our very own PA announcer going to be taking it home.
Used to be my principal.
Yes, that's right. He was the principal at, was it Palmer or Wasilla High School? Palmer High School. Palmer High School.
Palmer, he says with a
fist pump.
Passion.
Go Moose.
Are you guys the Palmer Mooses? The Palmer Moose would
Moose.
be. The Palmer Moose. That is plural for it.
Is there such thing as a moose here in Alaska? Because I still have not seen a moose.
Oh, they're here.
Passed by a couple just last night.
I beg to differ. I was looking that direction.
There was 3, actually. 3 moose.
They're there.
On the way back. Jordan's still yet to spot one. You still have close to a week left in Alaska.
It'll happen, I believe.
Here's the pitch to Scooter. It's a swing and a miss. They're going to throw down to first, and Cosgrove is back in safely. But a 1-2 count here with 2 outs and 2 men on.
It's hard to backpick like the catcher did when he got a left-handed hitter up. Very hard to do. So that was a good throw for having to readjust his position around the Scooter.
And this is coming from a former catcher yourself, isn't it?
Back in the
glory days.
Back in the glory days. I stopped catching when I hit freshman year of high school. I became an infielder.
Levi Jordan on deck for the Miners. Scooter Bynum at the dish. Left-handed hitter, right-handed hurler. Ramirez delivers. That is outside. So Deuce is wild on the scoreboard here. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Miners lead by a score of 2-0 here. Bottom of the fourth inning, 2 men on. That is Andy Cosgrove at first. He was hit by a pitch. And Cam Montgomery, who earlier this inning hit a RBI double.
Wouldn't be surprised if Ramirez here throws a changeup because he's been hitting that outside corner with that fastball. He might try and see if he can get Scooter off balance with a changeup.
It'll be the 2-2 pitch. We will wait and see if Kevin's prediction is correct. He comes from the set. Here's the pitch. And it's going to get Scooter by and a swing and miss on that one. So that's going to end the bottom of the fourth inning here for the Miners. They get 1 run off 2 hits, 2 men left on base. We now head to the 5th inning. It is Wofford, Chaparral, and Speak due up for the Oilers. You're listening to Miners Baseball here on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. First pitch to Brody Wofford here. It's a swing and a miss for strike 1 in the top of the 5th inning. Oilers trail the Miners by a score of 2-0 here.
Fletcher's pitching really well. He's not trying to do anything fancy. He's, keeping the ball low and, pounding the strike zone.
Yeah, he's retired 12 of his first 13 batters he faced. And, he retired the first 10 that he saw. So he is definitely dealing here today.
Yeah, no, and this is huge. Save our pitching. That off-speed pitch is working.
And he recently committed to Kansas State. We have a couple Kansas State players on this ball club. Josh Roulette, Jake Scudder, Jordan Floyd, and now Jordan Frederick as well. So he definitely earned it, and he's pitching like he belongs there at Kansas State.
No, definitely. He's not trying to do too much. He's just pitching. Pitching is 90% living low. You miss low, you won't get hurt. But if you miss high, that's when you see the 400-foot bomb.
And there we go. It is strike 3. Brody Wofford is going to go down looking to start things off here in the top of the 5th inning. And if I remember correctly, I'm trying to look at the calendar here. Jordan Frederick joined the team during the Colony Days Parade. Jordan's looking for it now, too. That would be, it was the July 4th. That's absolutely right. It was the Kendall Ford and Alaska Club Day at the ballpark. We were wearing the Kendall Ford T-shirts that we had during that 4th of July parade. So that is when he joined the club. He has not even been here for an entire month, but
those guys are the difference makers. Those guys are the difference makers. In 2010, when we had to beat the Panthers and come back, we bought a guy up at I think it was like June 30th, and he was here. He wasn't here for the last day, but he was huge, playing third for us that year.
And, I guess we could say the same for Michael Donadio. Don't remember exactly when he came up, but he's been tearing the cover off the ball ever since he got here.
And this one vacuumed up by Josh Bissonnette over at short. And once you look at that, 2 up, 2 down so far here and he has retired the last 3 he's faced now. Only 1 base runner allowed thus far. That was Trey Dawson's 1-out single just an inning ago. Up to the plate now, Daniel Speak struck out swinging in his first plate appearance back in the 3rd.
But yeah, no, great pitching performance so far by him. And it's a good mindset. It's good. Like I said, you like the guys, that were maybe haven't been here all year or have kind of, maybe not been on high radar like, some of your other players. Not to say that he is not an intricate part. I don't want anyone to mistake my words, but, just like seeing everybody contributing. Oh, Scooter's got that.
And he does, and that is going to be the last out of this inning. Kevin, thanks a lot for joining us, bud. We are now going to stay on the broadcast, actually, though, and we're going to perhaps need a little bit of camera work done. I'll try to man the camera here. Apologies if it gets a little rocky, as we have the Cupid Shuffle coming up here.
Everybody clap your hands. All right, led by the Miners in front of their dugout. Clap your hands. All right, now, we want to do the basic step. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. 1 hop this time. Right foot, left stump. Left foot, left stump. Cha-cha, real smooth. Turn it out. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. 1 hop this time. Right foot, left stump. Left foot, left stump. Cha-cha now, y'all. Last time you get funky. To the right now. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. 1 hop this time. 1 hop this time. Right foot, 2 stumps. Left foot, 2 stumps. Slide to the left. Slide to the right. Crisscross. Crisscross. Cha-cha, real smooth. Let's go to work. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. 2 hops this time. 2 hops this time. Right foot, 2 stops. All right, dancing with the Miners.
All right, there you have it. The Matsu Miners showing off the dance moves. As Kevin Christopher now hands over the headset, he's going to enjoy some nice refreshing drinks and Miners baseball. Kevs, thank you so much. And quite a short break for us now, Jordan. We got to watch a little bit of the Miners showing off their dance moves there. And here we are now back for some more Miners baseball in the bottom of the 5th inning. Levi Jordan up. He was showing off a few of his dance moves during that cha-cha slide. We originally thought it was going to be the Cupid Shuffle, but it was the cha-cha slide that they were playing. This one grounded right back up toward the middle, and it's going to be a base hit for Levi Jordan.
Back-to-back base hits for Levi Jordan here in the ballgame. His last single was in the 3rd inning.
So Levi Jordan's starting to heat up, and can't think of any better time for him to do that. Dan Collins here on the call, joined alongside broadcast partner Jordan Swick. Had Kevin Christopher on for the past couple half innings. It was great having him on. As always, he is up here, hopefully going to see a very, very solid Matsu Miners playoff run. Game 1 starting tomorrow night. It'll be Jordan Swick on the call and joined alongside me as his color help and official scorekeeper for Game 1 of the playoffs. Lucky me. 6 p.m. start tomorrow night.
The pressure will be on, not just for the ball players, but ourselves as well.
Absolutely, and we hope we do get the calls right, as here is a mound visit now. And we might still do a little bit more work with the cameras here, so apologies if things get a little rocky at home. Just get your seatbelts on. And look at this, trying to get a good, solid picture in there for you folks. Looks pretty solid to me. If you disagree at home, go on ahead and tweet the Miners, Facebook us, and let us know how bad of a job we're doing, and we'll get the job done. While we still have a little bit of time, now with outdoor seating, you can enjoy a refreshing drink and good friends outdoors in the Alaska sunshine. Located in downtown Palmer, the Palmer Bar is a great place grab a bite to eat and take in the sights. Call 907-745-3041 today. Once again, that's 907-745-3041 to get a hold of the Palmer Bar, downtown Palmer. Levi Jordan taking his lead at first. It's a 1-0 count on Josh Bissonette. Junior Ramirez still in the ballgame for the Oilers. He sets, fires away. That one high, 2-0 the count now on Josh Bissonette. Now I kind of have the feeling, partner, that things might start to get a little carried away from the Oilers. I feel like this is the time where the Miners, roughly within the next few innings, if they're going to strike, they'll probably strike it big soon.
Yeah, you would definitely expect so. But, the Miners have played a good game so far. They have 2 runs on 5 hits here today, and they've kept the Oilers down to 1 hit so far through the 4 1/3, or through 4 innings, I guess, right now.
If you're just joining into the broadcast, welcome aboard. Miners lead this one by a score of 2-0 here. We're halfway home. And here's the pitch to Bissonette. He's going to take this one right back up the middle. Falls right in front of Darius Hill out there in center field. So back-to-back singles to start things off for the Miners' 5th. Jordan Frederick pitching a solid ball game here. So far, 5 innings of shutout ball. He has 2 runs of run support now. Perhaps it will get a little bigger there, that run support, as we have the general, Garrison Schwartz, up to the plate now. He is 0 for 2 on the evening with a flyout and a strikeout. Ooh, we're short, Schwartz. The pitch to him, high, ball 1. Garrison likes to play a game called Let Me Guess My Line. I guess that's a good title. Yeah, that's a good name for the game he likes to play. Basically, either me or Jordan, most likely Jordan, will get our scoring book out. We'll go to a certain game, tell him what day it was, who they were facing, what pitcher it was, and Garrison likes to try to guess what his batting line was.
He definitely says it's a lot easier doing that back in college because, they don't play nearly as many games, at least they don't face the same pitcher as much as they do so far here in the ABL, as, Schwartz has, faced, numerous of pitchers and numerous times that was, but, he was kind of impressive too.
Well, he started off impressive. He was showing off a little bit. We were at the Christopher residence having dinner. It was a delicious leftover dish made by Denise Christopher, secretary of the Matsu Miners. And when we were there, I was just kind of asking him about who are some tough arms that he's seen and whatnot. And he started rambling off his stats against these pitchers. And we just took his word for it that he was right. And then, not that we don't trust Garrison or anything, but we had to get the book out and see for ourselves firsthand if he was that on top of it with fantastic memory. And lo and behold, sorry, Garrison, but he wasn't as good as he thought he was, we will just say.
But,
impressive nonetheless. Very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the 44th game of the year.
Yeah.
And, if you include the All-Star game and the Scout Showcase in which he participated in, that's, 48? 48? 3? Yeah.
With the All-Star game he participated in, yes.
So 48 games. I believe he's played in just about every single one, maybe one game off. So he's been a workhorse for this ball club. And, it's kind of impressive either way. He has to kind of get a feeling of, where he was at, what day it was, who was on the mound, what spot in the batting order was he batting, and what position was he playing, all those kind of stuff, just to, get a clue to what he was doing during that ball game.
Garrison striking out here for the first out of the inning, and I will agree with you that is the case, and he said he definitely wants to play that game at least one more time before we all head back home down to the lower 48. Seemed to be quite a fan of that game. He was getting a little better, I will say that, as we kept rambling off more and more games for him to try to guess. And I'll tell you this, the games in which he performed very well at, he definitely knew his stat line there. He remembered the game in which he had the dinger. He remembered all the good RBI knocks he had. That is one thing that definitely sticks out in the head of Gerson Schwartz. Up to the plate now, it's Donnie Baseball. And the pitch to him from Junior Ramirez. Hit foul. 0-1 the count now on Donadio. Tonight's designated hitter. In his first at-bat in the first inning, he had a hard line out back to Junior Ramirez on the bump, and then grounded out softly for the first time in what seems to be forever to the second baseman Jeff Chaperon back in the fourth inning. Ramirez coming from the stretch, delivers to Donadio. Breaking ball, strike two, catches the outside, checked at the inside part of the plate. Last regular season game for the Matsu Miners. It is a beautiful day to wrap up this regular season. 70 degrees, partly cloudy. The sun is kicking in. We see some blue skies here in the valley. The 0-2 pitch, that one getting away now from the catcher Jared Huber. Levi Jordan breaks for third, and he won't get there. And that is the second out of the inning. Levi Jordan pushing the envelope there, was almost in safely. But Huber with a good throw on down the third and a good tag by Seifert. And he was just out at third.
Yeah, credit Huber to staying with that play all the way. And, as a base runner, you have to anticipate that ball in the dirt. And, Levi Jordan did anticipate it. Unfortunately, he was thrown out barely, but it was a good play by catcher Jared Huber to do that, because if it wasn't for him staying with it, he would be on third base. Runners on the corners, it would be.
This one hit hard over to the shortstop, Trey Dawson, who was going to step on the bag and force out Josh Bissonette to end the inning. So we are through with 5 innings here at Herman Brothers Field. It's the Miners 2, the Oilers 0 here on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. It's the catcher Jared Huber, who was 0 for 1 this evening, leading off the Oilers' 6th inning. This one, a chopper 2-hopper over to the shortstop Josh Bissonette, makes the throw in time to retire Huber for out number 1. That'll bring Alex Seifert, the third baseman, up to the dish. He's 0 for 1. Hit into a 3 unassisted put out back in the 3rd inning. That was his first plate appearance. Jordan Frederick on a roll here. So far, only 1 base runner. That was Trey Dawson's single back in the 4th inning. Other than that, has retired every single batter. Outfield straight away. Infield normal depth. Frederick gets the signs. He winds, delivers. This one softly hit back, foul. Even the count up at 1. Cosgrove now looking over, getting the signs from the Matsu Miners dugout. Believe that is pitching coach Matt Greeley relaying what to throw. He sends the signs on over to Jordan Frederick, who delivers the pitch. It was a breaking ball low in the dirt, 2-1 the count now. Earlier today, the Glacier Pilots defeated the Chinooks. That was a makeup game. And because they won, the Oilers now hold their fate in their hand. If they win this ball game, they will head back to Kenai, roughly a 3.5, 4-hour trip to play the first round of the playoffs. If they lose, then they will stay in this area, take the 45-minute to an hour drive to Anchorage, where they will play the first round of the playoffs. Oilers would then be the 3rd seed. Pilots would be the number 2 seed, and they'll play round 1 at Mulcahy Stadium. You know, it would have been very interesting as that last pitch misses the strike zone. Now a full count on Alex Seifert. If the Pilots and Bucks got the top 2 seeds, then basically the entire playoffs would have just been held at Mulcahy Stadium. Luckily, that's not the case. The Miners, being the great program that they are going to host for as long as they are in. They will be hosting their opponents, starting with Game 1 tomorrow night. 6 p.m. start. We're going to be facing the Anchorage Bucks. Frederick delivers the payoff pitch. This one hit foul. So Alex Seifert having himself quite the lengthy at-bat. Trying to give Frederick a little bit of problems. Nobody warming up in the Matsu Miners bullpen. As a matter of fact, nobody in the Matsu Miners bullpen. So this is definitely Frederick's inning. Gets the signs. Now winds, and here's the payoff pitch again. This one hit, and it's going to fall right in front of Cam Montgomery there for a 1-out single. Seifert seen a lot of pitches that at-bat, and the more pitches you see, the more lethal you come, because Frederick basically is tossing just about everything in the kitchen sink up his direction. So he finally gets a good read, takes one the opposite direction for a 1-out single. Up to the plate now, Darius Hill, who was 0 for 2 on the night with 2 flyouts.
You know, that just goes to show you how well Jordan Frederick has been throwing here today. That's only the 2nd hit he's given up, and we are in the 6th inning. So great job by Jordan Frederick and retiring these Oilers hitters.
That one fouled away for a strike now on the leadoff hitter, center fielder, Darius Hill. Good job by Jordan Frederick to continuously get ahead in the count. A little bit of a gap in right center field. Frederick is coming from the stretch. Here's the pitch. This one, a slow chopper, going to go foul. And the count 0-2 now on the Oilers center fielder. Darius Hill hits from the left side of the batter's box. Jordan Frederick, the right-handed arm. Darius Hill now digging in. He comes into this ball game batting .331. No home runs, 13 RBIs. Does have 5 extra base hits, 3 doubles, 2 triples. Throw over to first. Seifert is back in, diving safely. On the season, the Miners are 4-6 against the Oilers. So a win here tonight would improve their regular season series to 5-6. The pitch from Frederick fouled away. Count remains 0-2. The Miners were 10-1 this season against the Chinooks, 7-4 against the Glacier Pilots, and they had a losing record against the Anchorage Bucks, who they'll see tomorrow night. Had a season series record of 5-6. Hopefully they'll tie that series at 6-6 tomorrow. It won't be the regular season, but overall, hopefully they'll tie it up to 6-6 on the year, because the Bucks will come to town tomorrow night.
Mentioning the Chinooks and the Bucks, we got a score update from Mulcahy Stadium, and the Chinooks leading the Bucks 2-0. They are in the top, or no, they're now going to the bottom half of the 2nd inning. So Chinooks, the away team, a 1 spot in the first, a 1 spot here in the 2nd.
And you know what? Good for them. Good for the Chinooks. They are a scrappy ball club. They are athletes in action. AIA. And I'm sorry I don't necessarily have an incredible amount of knowledge on Athletes in Actions, but they are a Christian-based group of athletes, obviously, and we are told by our media manager, Josh Grissom, that basically the creme de la creme of the Athletes in Action come up to play baseball here for the Chinooks. And they are just a team that will never quit, play some good baseball. They have a good broadcaster, that being Lance Morris out of Bowling Green State University. Did I say it right, Jordan? Bowling Green State University?
Sure did.
Lance Morris, good broadcaster, good man. I had the luxury, that is, of meeting him this summer. The relationship he has with Jordan Frederick obviously stems back to their days in college. Lance Morris, a recent graduate, correct? So he'll be obviously looking for jobs like myself when I go back. So broadcasting gigs, I'm going to be sending in the applications. Jordan, you still have a year to go on that.
Yeah, I got another year to go. I broadcast a lot of games at Bowling Green where I go to school, and 1 month from today I get a broadcast our first football game of the season, and it's against no other than Ohio State. So it's going to be
Wow.
It's going to be a great honor just being there. Get to travel a lot with these teams, not necessarily the football team, but we get to travel with the hockey team, the women's basketball team, and I'm definitely glad that I have at least one more year. It would have been very tough to graduate this past year, honestly, and have to come to reality, realizing that I have to start looking for jobs. I can just focus on school for the time being, and it's going to be here sooner rather than later, though.
Absolutely. And we were mentioning on the car ride over to the ballpark, this will be the first time we broadcast postseason play in any sport. Some playoff baseball tomorrow. Count 0-2 here on the shortstop, Trey Dawson. It's Alex Seifert at first. He is the second base runner of the ballgame for the Oilers. He singled earlier this inning. Frederick now going to throw over there, and Seifert is back in standing up. A good pitch here, you would imagine, will strike Dawson out. Frederick has been on his A game, and that will send us to the bottom of the half of this sixth inning. Here comes the 0-2 from Frederick. High at the letters, a little too high, says Phillips. It's going to move the count to 1-2. First baseman Jonathan Washam on deck. He leads the league in hitting. So you want to take care of the man here at the plate, that being shortstop Trey Dawson. Frederick gets set to deliver the 1-2. Here it comes. That one bounces right in front of Andy Cosgrove. And Alex Seifert is going to take second base. So the potential first run of the ball game for the Oilers, 180 feet away from home. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runner on second here. Top of the sixth inning, Miners lead the Oilers 2-0. The pitch, popped, foul. Heads up, yell the fans at the ballpark. Still no official attendance given our way yet. I'm sure we will be getting that attendance within the next couple innings. Dawson with a slight lead over there at second. Frederick looks him over again, now delivers to the plate. That is going to be a nibbler and foul. Cosgrove was about ready to throw that to first, but my guess would be that Phillips says that fouled off the plate. That's about the only thing I could think of. He's given a little explanation to the catcher, Andy Cosgrove now. The Cos is going to put back on his catching mask, crouch on down, look over to his dugout, get the signs from pitching coach Matt Greeley. And here's the relay over to Frederick. Frederick likes what he sees. He's going to come set. And here's his delivery. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Good pitch there by Jordan Frederick. He's been awesome tonight so far. 6 innings of scoreless baseball tossed up by the right-handed hurler Jordan Frederick. We now head to the bottom half of this inning. Jake Scudder, Angelo Armenta, and Cam Montgomery due up for the Miners here on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. Jake Scudder leading off the bottom of the 6th inning here for the Miners. He is 1 for 2 on the night, a single and a run scored. That coming back in the 4th inning. Junior Ramirez still towing the slab for the Oilers. His first pitch to Scudder, a curveball at the knees for strike 1. Dan Collins here on the call alongside Jordan Swick at Herman Brothers Field, where we get to remain until the end of the Miners season. Doesn't that sound nice, Jordan?
It sure does. You know, it's always great to finish the year off at home, especially in front of the best fans here too.
And you can't argue that. I mean, I know that sounds cliche
Right.
to say we have the best fans in the business, but believe me when I say the Miners have the best fans in the business.
That's because the Miners are actively involved in the community, and you know that just makes it so much more special. And
You sound like GMP Christopher now, but it's true.
I mean, it is
Yes.
absolutely true.
Yeah. No, absolutely right. And, you know, Pete Christopher over and over again will tell you that is why the Miners do have this fan base. They are well represented here in the Palmer-Wasilla community. They are well known in the Valley. And I'll tell you what, the Miners themselves do a great job of interacting with the community, whether it be the baseball clinics that they have where there's a ton of little league age kids who come out and learn the game of baseball by the Miners, or just serving up some pancake breakfast. This one is going to be a fly out now to the third baseman, Alex Seifert. He had a little bit of room there in foul territory to make the grab and retire Jake Scudder for out number 1. Actually, we had a lot of fun at our pancake breakfast. That was back on July 23rd. We were serving up the hotcakes and sausage. We had a little rotation going with catcher Zach Sharpley, who I don't know if he's tuning in now, but he said that him and the family will definitely be watching what the Miners do the rest of the way. Hopefully, they can earn Sharpley a championship ring. That's one of the players we definitely do miss up here, as well as Josh Roulette and all the other Miners who unfortunately cannot stick around for the rest of the season. But as I mentioned, if these boys win it all, get a nice ring to remember their time down here in the last frontier. Should I say up here in the last frontier, as they now are back down in the lower 48. So we wish all those boys the best of luck. And hopefully we could bring home that nice piece of jewelry. Here's the 1-1 count with 1 out on Angelo Armenta. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Pitch to him. Does catch the outside part of the strike zone for strike 2. 1-2 the count now on the third baseman, Armenta. And if your car needs a new taillight or just any sort of nut, bolt, or screw, be sure to visit the Valley's locally owned and operated Napa Auto Parts. They're in Big Lake, Palmer, and Wasilla. Visit www.napaalaska.com. The pitch to Armenta drilled past Chaperon's glove there in between the hole of first and second. And it is a 1-out single for Angelo Armenta. Bring up the right fielder, Cam Montgomery, who had an RBI double his last plate appearance back in the 4th inning. He plated Jake Scudder. We'll see what he could do here in his third at-bat. Bottom of the 6th inning here for the Miners. They lead the Oilers by a score of 2-0, and a little bit of activity in the Miners bullpen. That is relief pitcher Gage O'Brien warming up in the pen for the Miners. Jordan Frederick also out there in the bullpen taking a nice seat. So I'd imagine Frederick's night is perhaps done. We will wait and see come the 7th inning if that's the case. If it is, quite the job done by Jordan Frederick so far. He has pitched 6 innings of scoreless baseball, only allowing 2 base runners, that being 2 singles, 1 to Trey Dawson, 1 to Alex Seifert. Also has 5 Ks on the evening. We have an 0-1 count here on the right fielder, Cam Montgomery. Armenta taking his lead over at first. Ramirez comes from the set. That one downstairs for ball 1. Andy Cosgrove, the catcher, on deck. He's going to be doing a lot of catching the next couple days, folks. But actually, let's hope not. Let's hope we don't play any double headers and we could just go on and have some back-to-back wins. We will save the legs of Andy. This one drilled into right field. Wofford is looking up, and it is go! Foul! No way. Get out of here. You are kidding me. That one leaves the ballpark, and it is just foul. Ugh. Cam Montgomery showing off here now. That was just foul, wasn't it?
I believe so. I
Oh,
didn't necessarily see
man.
it land,
Ugh.
but I knew it had the distance. I knew it would be hovering that left field line, and that
Wofford
foul
just
pole
turned
out
around
there.
and his head went up. Yeah, that's all he had to do.
Yeah,
He knew he didn't have no play on it.
There was nothing he could do, and Montgomery almost with a 2-run home run.
Wow. Well, come on, Cam. You still have at least one more pitch in this at-bat to see. The 1-2, swing and a miss, the throw down to first, and they don't get Armenta. Almost a strike him out, throw him out, double play there. Cam Montgomery coming so close on a home run. He's going to go down swinging. If you're going to go down, you might as well go down swinging. Here's the catcher, Andy Cosgrove. He's 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a hit by pitch. Mentioned Andy Cosgrove was hit by a pitch in last night's ball game. They're just beating up on the kid. Cosgrove now digging into the batter's box. Armenta's going to take his lead over at first. Ramirez looks him over there, looks him over again. Now he's finally going to make the decision to throw on over there. Armenta back in, slides in safely. Andy Cosgrove looks to extend the Miners' lead. Currently a 2-0 lead for this Miners ball club. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. That one breaking ball. Good for a strike. Cosgrove taking all the way on that one. Perhaps looking fastball this time around. Cosgrove comes in batting .241, has 2 doubles on the season, 1 triple, 1 home run, 5 ribbies. The 0-1 to the kid. Outside, the throw over to first. Armenta is going to be out at first. He was caught leaning just a little too far off the bag, and that is going to end the Miners' 6th inning. So we are 2/3 done with this ball game as we head to the top of the 7th inning. It's the Miners 2, Oilers 0 on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. New man on the bump for the Matsu Miners. That is Gage O'Brien now in the ball game. This is O'Brien's 13th appearance, all of them in relief. He has tossed up 20 innings so far this summer, allowing 15 hits, 14 runs, 13 of those runs earned, 15 walks, 19 strikeouts. He comes in with a record of 1-3, ERA of 5.85. And the night is done for Jordan Frederick, who was spectacular here tonight. 6 innings, 2 hits, no walks, no runs, 5 strikeouts. And I think the most impressive stat is not necessarily that 2 hits in 6 innings, but the no walks that you could couple with that and the 5 punchies. There you have it, a great night for Jordan Frederick and what was a spot start for the right-handed hurler. First pitch by Gage O'Brien, a ball. Tosses it up to Jonathan Washam, tonight's first baseman for the Oilers. There's the 1-0. That one does catch the strike zone, even up the count at 1. Miners lead 2-0 here in the top of the 7th. Oilers yet to get anything going. Just the 2 hits against Frederick. Here's the 1-1 by O'Brien. Washington trying to go opposite field with that one. But it's going to get out of play. Move the count to 1-2, and it cracks his bat, so he's going to now go retrieve another. And the Miners spend their mornings lifting, running, and staying in shape by visiting the Alaska Club. Visit them in Anchorage, Eagle River, Fairbanks, Juneau, and the Matsu Valley, or online at www.thealaskaclub.com. O'Brien rocking at the mound. Here's his delivery. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Gets away from Cosgrove. He'll throw it on over to first, and Washam is retired for out number 1 this inning. Washam will go down swinging. He heads back to the dugout. He'll find a nice warm seat. And up comes the designated hitter, Seth DeWitt. Seth DeWitt, an all-star for these Oilers. Typically plays at first base, but he's the designated hitter tonight. Andy Cosgrove now also with Angelo Armenta out to the mound, having a little chit-chat with Gage O'Brien. Now perhaps they're just going over a little bit of strategy. Armenta back on the rubber, and Cosgrove is going to head on over to the mound. Or check that behind the plate. No activity in the Oilers bullpen. It is just Jordan Frederick alongside somebody else now in the Miners bullpen, taking a nice seat, so definitely no activity there. Jordan Frederick just getting done with his 6 innings of work here this evening. Here's Gage O'Brien's first pitch to Seth DeWitt. He takes it low for ball 1. No runs, 2 hits, no errors for the Oilers. 2 runs, 7 hits, no errors for your Matsu Miners. The pitch from O'Brien, right down Broadway for strike 1. Don't know what Seth DeWitt was waiting for there. Kind of have to take the bat off your shoulders with that one tossed up to the dish, but he's going to take it, and the count now 1-1. He takes that one as well, but this one is inside. Move the count to 2-1. Mentioned Seth DeWitt was an all-star for this ball club. He comes in batting .252, 1 home run on the season, 16 RBIs. Of course, this is in conference play. The Oilers did play a lot of non-conference games this season, and that kind of caught up to them here at the end. They had to play a lot of double headers to wrap up this season. That latest pitch, a swing and a miss, strike 2. We talked a lot about the implications and whether or not the Oilers will be traveling back to Kenai or not. But one thing we haven't talked about is whether they travel or not, they've still played a lot of baseball, and that's going to wear you down to some degree within this past week.
Yeah, that's what happens when you play a lot of non-conference baseball games. And as we just witnessed Seth DeWitt getting hit, perhaps on the forearm. But, you know, this is a Oilers team that you may expect to be a little tired heading into the postseason, as they played so many games recently, a lot of doubleheaders, like you mentioned, partner, and you know, I don't think we're necessarily expecting them to go the distance because of the wear and tear that they have dealt with over the last week and a half.
Up to the dish now is Brody Wofford. Seth DeWitt at first. He's the 3rd base runner of this ball game. He was just hit by a pitch. The other 2 base runners reached via a single off Jordan Frederick. That was a single by Alex Seifert and Trey Dawson. The 1-0 to Wofford. Downstairs, 2-0. Jake Scudder holding DeWitt on at first base. DeWitt's going to take his lead. O'Brien gets the signs. And we await his delivery. Here it is. High, and now Andy Cosgrove's going to want to go out and have a little chit-chat with Gage O'Brien. The count 3-0 on Brody Wofford. You walk him here, and then you get into a little bit of trouble. It'll be the most base runners that the Oilers put together in one inning. It'd be 2, and it'll be the first time that they get back-to-back men on. So you want to keep the trouble down to a minimum here, especially on this 3-0 pitch. You do have to be cognizant as to whether or not Wofford may or may not swing here. Infield at double play depth, a little bit of a gap in right center field. That one just catches the outside part of the plate for strike one. Gage O'Brien has to toss up another one if he wants to do his best to keep Wofford off the base paths. This one, it's a chopper through a diving Levi Jordan in between the hole of first and second. And it is going to be the third hit of the ball game for the Oilers. And put runners on first and second for the first time this evening. One out here. And Jeff Chaperon stepping up to the plate. Looking for that inning-ending double play ball here off the bat of Chaperon. He has hit 2 ground balls tonight. He is 0 for 2 with 2 ground outs to Josh Bissonnette over at short. So let's make it the third time he grounds out to Josh Bissonnette. He's a good one there at shortstop. Him and Levi Jordan make a great double play combo. And I would bet the house that they do turn it if it's a hard enough hit ground ball. However, it is 1-0 on the Oilers' second baseman. O'Brien kicks, delivers. That one's inside as well. Roughly in the same location, so the count now 2-0 on Jeff Chaperon. Daniel Speak, the right fielder, awaits on deck. Jared Huber, the catcher, is in the hole. And the flash coming out to the mound now. That is pitching coach Matt Greeley. Kicks it in the third gear. In the fourth. Into fifth gear now, and he's at the mound. Pitching coach Matt Greeley. What do we clock him there? Is that a record?
25.6 seconds.
Record speed there for the pitching coach Matt Greeley.
I don't know. It might be one of the quickest we've seen so far.
Well, Justin Phillips is going to go break it up at the mound, so that means the flash is going to have to put it in reverse and head back to the dugout. And since he can fly, that means we don't have too much time here. So let me fit in the nice little bit of words I have about the Palmer Golf Course, which is to remind you that summer is the perfect opportunity to work on your golf game. The Palmer Golf Course is located right in the heart of Palmer, just about 2 miles from Herman Brothers Field. Call 907-745-4653 for more information. And the flash is now indeed heading back toward the dugout. Looks like he's about in second gear now. Kicks it to third. And he pulls up in the dugout. There he has it. And Gage O'Brien firing away immediately as soon as Matt Greeley steps foot in that dugout.
Yeah, you might expect that. Matt Greeley would exit the ballpark, a little bit faster than, he came on, but that's definitely not the case.
And back-to-back strikes thrown by Gage O'Brien after that mound visit, so I don't know what Greeley said to O'Brien, but so far so good. Count runs full on Chaperon. Here's the pitch. That one hit foul, so the count will remain full. Think you can beat Matt Greeley in a race?
By the way that he goes out to the mound.
He is the Flash. Hold on.
So.
He's the Flash. But he is the Flash. Don't call him the Flash for no reason. Here's the payoff pitch. Inside, and that is going to be bases loaded now for the Oilers. So trouble definitely a brewing here for Gage O'Brien, and up to the dish comes the right fielder, Daniel Speak. Speak is 0 for 2 on the evening. He struck out swinging back in the third inning, flew out to Scooter Bynum in center back in the fifth. This is the most intense the ball game's been, at least from the standpoint of when the Oilers have been to the plate.
Yeah, this will be the fifth man to bat of the inning. The Oilers have not sent any more than 4 in any inning, and they've done that twice. It's been 1, 2, 3 innings pretty much all game for the Miners defense, but this is really the first time in which the Miners are in some kind of a jam.
Gage O'Brien tosses up strike one, which is much needed here. See what he tosses up this go around. This one is going to get past the catcher, Andy Cosgrove, and will plate the first run of the ball game for the Oilers. That being Seth DeWitt, who was hit by a pitch in his AB. He steps on home plate. That's run number 1 for the Oilers. Brody Wofford moves into third, and Chaperon moves from first to second. So first base now open for the Oilers here with 1 ball, 1 strike on Daniel Speak with 1 out in the inning. Double play no longer intact for the Miners, at least on a ball hit to the infield. And there is a ground ball off the glove of Scudder, goes into the glove of Jordan, and Jordan is going to have no play as he retrieved that ball in shallow right field. It is going to score the second run of the ball game. Chaperon's going to move into third, so runners on the corners with that 1-out single off the bat of Daniel Speak, and it is now a brand new ball game. We're now up at 2 here in the top of the 7th inning.
And that's where the pass ball actually comes back and bites you, because that you're pretty much giving up a gift run as Daniel Speak able to get that RBI single, infield single it is, and it was a good play by Levi Jordan over there at second base, because if that gets past Levi Jordan, then Jeff Chaperon could potentially take the lead.
Jared Huber, the catcher, had to go walk on down to a member of the coaching staff there at third base. A hit would give the Oilers the lead. And they're going to want to lay down the bunt here. Scudder has it. Is he going to go to the plate? No, he drops it. Throw over to first, and he does get him. And Scudder, now with that fumble he had, the run scores, and that's kind of interesting that the Oilers opt to bunt there. They now take the lead and are in position to head back to Kenai. That is if the score holds. But think about it that way, folks. They do lead this ball game. If they come on top, they travel back to Kenai for the first round of this playoffs.
There's definitely some wishful thinking here.
Yes.
We mentioned on the pregame show that it's either a win-win for the Miners. A win for the Miners means that, you go into the playoffs not necessarily cold, but you're not necessarily hot either. But at the same time, if the Miners do lose, just like what you mentioned, the Oilers would go back down to Kenai, and believe me, I don't think that's what they want to do.
Swing and a miss, the throw down, and they're going to have him in a pickle. Levi Jordan chases Daniel Speak all the way back to third base. Speak puts on the brakes, and Jordan's going to apply the tag. And that is going to end the Oilers' 7th. Not before they put up 3 runs and take the lead here. It is 3-2 in time for the 7-inning stretch. Oilers with the lead. You're listening to Matsu Miners Baseball on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. Andy Cosgrove makes his way up to the dish again. That's where he was in the bottom of the 6th before the inning-ending pickoff. They got Angelo Armenta picked off first base to end that inning. Cosgrove had an AB going on, but now has to roam up to the dish again to lead off the top of the 7th here. Miners trailing the Oilers by a score of 3-2 at Herman Brothers Field. And here's the 0-1 pitch by Junior Ramirez. Hit hard right over to the shortstop, Trey Dawson. So it's going to be a hang with him for Andy Cosgrove as it is a line out to the shortstop to begin things here in the Miners 7th.
That was the 94th pitch by Junior Ramirez, the starter today for the Oilers, and now they have some activity brewing in their bullpen. So you got to think that this would be the last inning for Ramirez.
Breaking ball to Scooter Bynum. 0-1 the count on him. He takes that. Phillips calls it a strike. First time that the Miners have trailed all evening. Oilers putting up a 3 spot in their half of the 7th inning. This one hit hard, takes a nasty hop on the second baseman, Jeff Chaperon, but he comes up with it and throws over to first in time for out number 2.
Second baseman number 1, Levi Jordan.
It's going to bring up the second baseman, Levi Jordan, who was 2 for 3, 2 singles, and a run scored in this ball game, scoring one of the 2 Miners runs.
And warming up in the bullpen for the Oilers is going to be the right-hander Andrew Bash out of Cal Baptist.
Is that the only guy they throw anymore? Him and Austin Piscotty, it seems like.
He seems to always come in out of relief when we ever face the Oilers.
Levi Jordan gets a hold of that one, but that ball goes foul. 0-1 the count now on Jordan. Interesting situation here, folks. If the Miners don't score again this ball game, they will send the Oilers back to Kenai after about a week down in the Valley in Anchorage. Palmer and Chugiak, which is where the Chinooks play, only about 30 minutes to 45 minutes away from each other. Anchorage only about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour from Palmer. So the Oilers have been in this vicinity for about a week already. Word has it that they already packed up from their host family's house. They expected to just end the season down here, but a win here would send them back to Kenai, which is about a 3.5, 4-hour trip. They would have to play the first round of baseball there. You would imagine they would leave tonight and head back to Kenai. Then they would play a baseball game tomorrow. And if they somehow were to advance after all that traveling and whatnot, they would have to come all the way back down on Saturday to face hopefully the Miners. If not, it would be the Bucks in Anchorage. So they would be heading back to either Palmer or Anchorage come Saturday. Once again, we hope it's Palmer. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Jordan. This one hit right back up the middle for a 2-out single. Attaboy, Levi.
The third hit of the day for Levi Jordan. They've all been singles, but he's the only Miner so far with 3 hits. And in fact, the only other person with the multiple hits in the ball game is now coming up to plate, that being Josh Bissonette.
And something tells me Levi Jordan will probably be the leadoff man come playoff time. It's either going to be him or Jacob Huey, you would imagine. Josh Bissonette, he has reached base safely all 3 times, so I would imagine they also stick with Josh Bissonette in the 2-hole.
Yeah, I would say so as well. You know, I mean, we've seen Levi Jordan and Jacob Huey both in the leadoff role, especially as of late too. We've seen Brooks Stotler too, but I believe Ben Taylor really wants to have like a second leadoff man down at the bottom of the order, and he's done a great job down there as well. So you definitely have to think if Jacob Huey is in the lineup, he's going to be leading things off. If not, Levi Jordan will be their guy.
You have a guy like Josh Bissonette who is warming up at the right time of the year in that number 2 hole. Mentioned he has reached base safely all 3 times this evening. 2 singles, 1 base on balls. The 1-0 to him, outside, 2-0. Levi Jordan taking his lead over there at first. Ramirez comes set. Here's his delivery. That one well inside on Josh Bissonette, so he stays down in the count. Josh Bissonette looking for either his third hit of the ball game or second walk. His first hit was an RBI single that played to Levi Jordan. That was the first run of the ball game back in the third inning. Here's the pitch from Ramirez. That is outside for ball 4. It's going to trickle away from Huber. Levi Jordan not pushing the envelope there, so they'll put runners on first and second here for the Miners with 2 outs. Up to the plate now, Garrison Schwartz.
And now Josh Bissonette has been on base all 4 times today. He's walked twice and he's singled a couple times. So good job by the top of the order, mainly Levi Jordan and Josh Bissonette here today and getting on base. And we definitely think now that Junior Ramirez's day will be over.
We do have a mound visit now coming out and asking now. Yep, there it is. The call has been made to the pen. So we will step aside and take a quick timeout for this pitching change. When we come back, we'll tell you all about the new Oilers hurler here on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. Garrison Schwartz making his way back up to the plate. And the new pitcher on the bump for the Oilers, Andrew Bash. This is going to be his 12th appearance, all out of the bullpen. 22 and a third innings pitched this season. Has allowed 11 hits, 7 runs, 3 of them were earned, 12 walks, and 16 strikeouts. His first pitch to Garrison way outside for ball 1. Bash comes in with a record of 1-2 in an ERA of 1.21. Schwartz ahead in the count, 1-0. Junior Ramirez responsible for the runners on first and second here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. That ball low, so 2-0 the count now on Schwartzy. Garrison 0 for 3 on the evening. Looking for an RBI knock here in the bottom of the 7th. Andrew Bash gets the signs, and here he comes from out of the stretch. That one high, count now 3-0.
And we just got our official attendance here on the day. 1,358 strong here at Herman Brothers Fan, as this is Fan Appreciation Day. Everybody getting into today's ball game for free. So we want to thank all the Matsu Miners fans for coming out here all season long. And we hope you don't stop, as there's some playoff ball, very important playoff ball, as the Miners are looking to secure their first ABL title since the 2010 season. That's been 6 years, too long.
Yeah, that's 6 years too long for my liking. Let's do it this year, boys. First things first, we have a regular season finale to finish up. This one popped up in the air. It is the center fielder, shortstop, and second baseman all around that area, but it will ultimately be the shortstop, Trey Dawson, who makes the grab and ends the Miners' 7th. So that wraps up this inning. No hits, no runs, and 2 men Check that, 1 hit, 2 men left on base for the Miners. My apologies. As we now head to the top of the 8th inning, it's the Oilers 3, the Miners 2 on your Matsu Miners radio network. First pitch to the man in the hot corner tonight for the Peninsula Oilers. Taken for a ball. And here's the 0-1 to Alex Seifert. High 2-0. Gage O'Brien having a little trouble finding the strike zone here. And this one is pop. No, check that. It's going to get down right in front of right fielder Cam Montgomery. So we have ourselves a leadoff single off the bat of Alex Seifert to start things off here in the Oilers' 8th inning.
Yeah, those are usually plays that you would see Levi Jordan making, but the ball did take a little bit of a bad hop on him as he was toward the end of the infield, so it's right where the cutoff of the dirt and the outfield grass begin. Perhaps the ball took a little bit of a bad bounce there, so it's going to be a single for Alex Seifert here to begin the 8th inning.
First pitch taken for a strike by Darius Hill, who was 0 for 3 on the evening. 3 flyouts, 1 to short, 1 to right, 1 to center. The 0-1 pitch, he shows bunt, brings it back, and it's going to even up the count at 1. That ball not catching the strike zone. Alex Seifert, the man on first base, who led this thing off with a single. We await the 1-1 from Gage O'Brien, and he's going to throw it on over to first. Back in standing safely is Seifert. Dr. K's Pediatric Dentistry in Palmer believes the best dental care can only happen when a trusting and respectful relationship has been built between the doctor, parents, and their children in a safe, fun, stress-free environment. It's Dr. K's goal to change about how you think about going to the dentist. Give them a call at 745-KIDS. That's 745-5437 to make an appointment, or go online at matsumuse.com. And a 4-6-3 double play right there. Gonna bail Gage O'Brien out so far. Still 1 more out to go. And up to the plate is Trey Dawson, who has one of the Oilers' 4 hits this evening. Stepping up to the dish. 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. Pitch from O'Brien. Low and in the dirt, ball 1. Talking about how spectacular Dr. K's Pediatric Dentistry is. Missed that 4-6-3 twin killing. But I'll take it. And that pitch from Gage O'Brien also missing. So move the count to 2-0 on Dawson.
Perhaps you should read more of those more often if it leads to more outs.
Why not? I like your logic there. I'll take it. That one low. 3 straight balls to Trey Dawson. Gage O'Brien having a hard time catching that one. So now he'll go retrieve it. And 3-0 the count on Trey Dawson. Here's the 3-0. Inside, ball 4. So the 2-out walk is going to put Dawson at first base. Roaming up to the dish now, Jonathan Washam. 0 for 3 on the evening, 2 flyouts to second base, and a strikeout. So we have a runner on first base, that being Trey Dawson. Jonathan Washam at the plate. He takes ball 1. It is a 3-2 Oilers lead here in the top of the 8th inning with 2 outs. O'Brien now going to step off the rubber. O'Brien sets up roughly toward the first base side of the rubber. And a throw over there to first. Nothing to it as Dawson is back in safely. O'Brien comes set. Here's the delivery. This one chopped foul. So that will even up the count. 1 ball and a strike on Jonathan Washam. It's Seth DeWitt, designated hitter on deck for the Oilers. This is the second inning of relief for Gage O'Brien. Still nobody in that Miners bullpen at all. This is O'Brien's inning. Here's the 1-1. Breaking ball high, 2-1. Last regular season game, and I love the way the Miners ending it right here at home. MTA Fan Appreciation Night. This one hit in the air right side. Cam Montgomery. This is a Little League style play for him. He'll make the grab for out number 3. And that is going to retire the Oilers here in the 8th inning. We now head to the bottom half of this inning. Miners trailing it by the slimmest of margins. You're listening to Matsu Miners Baseball on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. Donnie Baseball leading it off here in the Miners' 8th inning. They trail it by a score of 3-2 against the Peninsula Oilers. Andrew Bashon, the hill for the Oilers. And you can officially close the book on Junior Ramirez. He was responsible for runners at first and second last inning, but Bash able to get out of it. Junior Ramirez went 6 2/3 innings, most definitely his longest outing of the season. Gave up 8 hits, 2 runs. They were both earned. 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. 1-1 count here on Donnie Baseball, who leads off the 8th inning for the Miners. Dan Collins joined alongside broadcast partner and official scorekeeper Jordan Swick. Earlier on in the ballgame, we had Kevin Christopher, son of GMP Christopher, on for a few innings, telling us how he's extremely excited and anxious about this playoff series coming up tomorrow night. 2-1 pitch to Donadio. He swings through that one. Good breaking ball from Bash. Count now 2-2 on Donadio. We would like to send a congratulations out to Tom Jensen. He is the 2016 Wheelbarrow of Booze winner. So he won himself a whole lot of alcohol. He's going to have a good party coming up. Let's look at what they have a picture here online.
Via our Facebook page.
Yeah, that's a big old bottle of Patron right there.
Looks like a lot of wine,
Whole lot of wine.
champagne.
Think he's a wine snob? Guess it doesn't really matter. That'd be a wine snob, actually.
What was that?
We have
jelly
boxed
shots?
wine. Jelly. I've heard of Jello shots. Don't know what
Yeah, I
jelly
don't know what
shots
jelly
are.
is. Who
That
knows?
bottle of Patron is quite something. Not a lot of beer, but there's a ton of booze. Holy cow. Well, might want to go make friends with Tom Jensen if you're at the ballpark. This one hit hard, and Trey Dawson is going to misplay it. That'll be an E6. Donadio reaches first. Man, that's a whole lot of booze. What would you go for? There's some good wine in there, wasn't there?
I don't know. There's nothing really in there that I love. Of course, I am 21 years of age. I'm actually 22, going to be 23
Yes,
just next month.
we are both of legal age to talk about this in the broadcast.
So this is okay, I would think.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a big beer guy, especially when it comes to craft beer.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't
Not
see
necessarily
it.
craft, but
Oh, I love craft beer. Don't know if there's any craft beer in there.
we've had the Alaskan what?
Quad quartet. We had the Alaskan quartet.
We sure did.
This one getting away from catcher Jared Huber, and Donnie Baseball is going to take second base rather easily. Yeah, it was Alaskan white, Alaskan amber.
And like IAA.
No, there's an Alaskan IPA and an Alaskan double IPA. Don't know what they're exactly called, but one is pretty darn hoppy. The other one is extremely hoppy. Obviously, that being the double IPA, which is what we had at what was considered a sports bar in Wasilla. I don't know if you want to call it that. Quite some awful karaoke that night. Woof. Man, that was terrible. I could do better karaoke in my sleep.
You see, we were discussing if we should go out on up there on the stage and maybe sing some karaoke.
There's nobody there.
But there was nobody there. But at the same time, you could say, you know, who cares? Nobody's gonna.
Yeah, no, there's nobody there to judge you.
Unless there's some people like us who are out there.
This one hit over to second base. That's Chaperon who's there. And he throws over to first in time to retire Jake Scudder for out number one this inning. Michael Donadio moving into third, so he's 90 feet away from tying up this ball game. Here comes Angelo Armenta. He is 1 for 3 on the evening. Singled in his last at-bat. That was back in the 6th inning. Here he is now in the bottom of the 8th with a chance to tie things up here. Infield in for the Oilers. Outfield straight away. Andrew Bash gets the signs, comes sets. Here it is. Armenta taking all the way for strike one. Michael Donadio at third. Angelo Armenta at the dish. And the delivery from Bash, who's on the mound. Way outside. 1-1 now. Michael Donadio reached on an air to start this inning off. Then got all the way to second on a pass ball. Moved over to third on the 4-3 ground out. Here we are with Angelo Armenta, who's going to call for time. The count 1-1 on him with the 1 out. So the suspense continuing here at Herman Brothers Field. The pitch to Armenta. This is hit right at Jeff Chaperon there at second. He was playing in, and it's an easy out for him to make. That is out number 2.
Yeah, that's exactly why you bring the infield in that kind of situation. Because if the infield wasn't in, it would be a slow chopper to second base, and that runner, being Michael Donadio over at third, could have came home to score. But good defensive alignment by the Oilers, bringing the infield in. Now they will go back to normal depth here with 2 outs.
And we have a little bit of catch going on down there toward the Miners bullpen not actually necessarily warming up, but that is AJ Lee playing a little bit of catch with Madison Nickens, who I wouldn't doubt now because of that is going to come in as a defensive replacement next inning. So expect Nickens to perhaps come on and play a little bit of defense come the 9th inning for the Miners. 0-1 the count on Cam Montgomery. There's 2 outs, tying run, and Michael Donadio at third. Swing and a miss, strike 2 now on Montgomery.
And Montgomery has been close to hitting a couple home runs here today. He almost hit a home run in the 4th inning as it hit off the left field wall. It was an RBI double for him. And then just his last at bat, it was just a matter if it stayed fair or not. It hooked wide left. But, you know, he swung the bat pretty well here today.
Miners with 1 run in the 3rd, 1 run in the 4th. Oilers with 3 runs in the 7th. They lead it by a score of 3-2 here in the bottom of the 8th. Bash now coming set. Here's his delivery. Popped up. Staying behind the backstop. That is Jared Huber, who makes the catch for the final out of the inning. The Miners have no runs on no hits to leave a man on base. That's Michael Donadio, who reached via the E6 to start things off in this inning. We now head to the 9th. The Miners trailing by 1 here on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. Seth DeWitt leading things off here in the 9th inning for the Oilers. They lead it by a score of 3-2 here. And isn't this a fantastic sight to see? We talked about it last inning. Madison Nickens was warming up with his Maryland teammate, AJ Lee, toward the Matsu Miners bullpen, and he is out in center field replacing Scooter Bynum. It has been far too long since we have seen Madison Nickens in a ball game. The last time he played for the Miners was on July 13th. It was a 10-2 victory against the Chinooks. He was 1 for 3 in that ball game with 1 run scored. And in that ball game, he tried to square a bunt and was hit in the finger and has been out ever since. This one hit over to left field. The General's on his horse, turns around, makes the grab for out number 1.
But yes, it has been a long time since we have seen Madison Nickens. Definitely great to see him back out there. And, you know, with the playoff.
He surely deserves to be out there.
Oh, sure. He's, you know, he works his butt off.
Josh Roulette during the home run derby called him one of the vocal leaders on this ball club. And you could see why.
That's right. And Josh Roulette's saying, you know, he finds himself as a leader. Roulette does, just in a different way. He leads by example, not necessarily vocally like Madison Nickens does. So that's a big gain for the Miners as the playoffs will be starting tomorrow.
Yeah, it's good to see Nickens finally fit to play. He's out there in center field once again, replacing Scooter Bynum, who was the starting center fielder tonight. And here's the 2-0 pitch to Brody Wofford. He's going to take this one foul. Count now moving to 2-1 on him. Gage O'Brien in for his third inning of work, and from the looks of it, it's probably going to close this ball game out for the Miners. Nobody warming up in the pen. So they're relying on the combination of Jordan Frederick and Gage O'Brien in this ball game. The 2-1 swung on and missed, strike two. We await the 2-2 pitch here with one out to Brody Wofford. There's O'Brien rocking on the hill. Here it comes. Swung on and missed, strike three. So Wofford is going to head on back to the dugout, find a nice warm seat. And up comes Jeff Chaperon, who is 0 for 2 on the night with a walk and a run scored. Hit 2 ground outs to Josh Bissonette this evening. So Chaperon digging into the batter's box. The delivery by O'Brien paints the outside of the plate with that fastball. 0-1 the count. O'Brien winds. Here we go. Misses the strike zone with that one. Will move the count to 1-1. Matsu Miners, no matter of the outcome of this ball game, will finish in first place. The 1-1 hit in the air, left side. That's Gershon Schwartz hustling over toward it, and he will make the grab. So it is a 1-2-3 inning for Gage O'Brien. The Miners heading out to the bottom of the ninth. They need 1 to tie and 2 to walk off here on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. We move on now to the bottom of the ninth inning. Miners trail the Oilers by a score of 3-2. And new pitcher on the hill, it is Justin Montgomery, making his 11th appearance. He has 7 starts this season. That includes 2 complete games in his 51 1/3 innings pitched this year. That's in conference play at least. He's given up 23 hits, 18 runs, 17 of which were earned. Has walked 23 batters, struck out 35, comes in with a record of 4-2 and an ERA of 2.98. And this is perhaps one of the guys you would imagine have started in tomorrow night's ball game in game 1 of the playoffs. Oilers will take on the Pilots. Kind of interesting to see him come out here for an inning of work. Are they trying to maybe give him a little bit of work before they give him some more time off and try to save him for what would be round 2?
Yeah, who knows? It's been a while since Montgomery came around the pitch, but at the same time, you get him in here. Perhaps you try to save him for the later round, but at the same time, it's kind of tough to do that because you're never guaranteed to go into the later rounds as well. So Montgomery will be coming out of relief here today.
The last time Montgomery pitched was that in that doubleheader back on July 30th, where he got the victory, went 7 innings, only gave up 1 run. So the last time he was out was that doubleheader against the Miners. That being 3 days ago. Check that, well, 4, including this one, which is rather interesting. So the strikeout there was a drop third strike. They had to send it on down to first base, making the out official. And here he comes. Yes, we give a nice little golf clap here in the broadcast booth. It is Madison Nickens coming up for his first plate appearance of the ball game. The pitch to Madison, swing and a miss, strike 1.
We've seen Madison Nickens taking BP within the last few days, and I got to tell you, I've been pretty impressed by him. He was one to hit a few home runs over the fence in BP. Yes, it is BP, but at the same time, he definitely looked good.
Once again, Madison Nickens hasn't been in the game since July 13th. That is when he took a pitch off the finger when he was trying to lay down a bunt. He's been working hard to try to get back into this Miners batting order, and here he is right now. Swings through that one for strike 3, so Madison goes down swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts for Justin Montgomery here in the 9th inning, and the Miners are down to their last out in Levi Jordan. Will the Oilers head back to Kenai, or will the Miners keep them in this vicinity? 1,328 fans here tonight in attendance. Great crowd on hand. It is MTA Fan Appreciation Night, watching the final game of the regular season. If they want to come back tomorrow night, they'll see some playoff baseball, as the Miners will take on the Anchorage Bucks in the first round. Mentioned these Oilers will be taking on the Pilots. If they could get one more out here without surrendering a run, they will head back to Kenai to play that round. It is a swing and a miss by Levi Jordan for strike 2. 0-2 the count on Levi. The Miners are down to their last strike. Montgomery winds his delivery. That one slapped foul. Levi only retired one time this evening. That was back in the first with a fly out to left field. Other than that, 3 singles afterward and a run scored. Fans making a little bit of noise here at the ballpark. Montgomery rocks on the mound. He fires away. This one is a chopper. Takes a little bit of a funky hop on Trey Dawson, who throws over to first in time. The Oilers win this ball game and will be heading back to Kenai. So a loss is never a win, but what you have to do is credit the Miners with a good showing here. They fall the Oilers 3-2 in the last game of the regular season. And, well, Jordan, we mentioned it beforehand, even though it's a loss, if we do somehow see this team in the second round of the playoffs, we are hoping that the Miners make that second round. They have to take care of business first against the Bucks. If we do somehow see the Oilers, then that will be a back-and-forth road trip they have to take. And a little bit of a conversation going on now here with skipper Ben Taylor and a member of the Oilers ball club. Trying to talk things out. I don't know exactly what the conversation is. But that's going to wrap up this ball game, Jordan. And you know what? You just have to take it as is. And we have a playoff game to play tomorrow night.
Yeah, absolutely. And the team's going to be very excited for this. And, we were talking about this a little bit in the pregame show. We were saying that either way is probably a win-win scenario for the Miners. But for me, I honestly thought the best case scenario would be falling here today. I know I hate to say that, but at the same time, I wanted them to compete. They were in the game the entire time. And, the Oilers are a very dangerous team, and yes. I believe the Oilers still have the upper hand on the Miners. I think the Miners are 5-6 on the year against the Oilers.
This now drops them to 4-7.
4-7. That's right.
now.
That's right. It would have been 5-7 with a win. So this would have been a very tough team to face against. But the Oilers now have to go down to Kenai to face the Pilots. The Miners will be hosting the Bucks. So the Oilers have to go back down to Kenai. Perhaps it's not necessarily what they wanted, and who knows? It could end up hurting them, and we'll just wait to see from here on out. It's postseason baseball. Would not have it any other way, though.
And we'll see exactly how the cards fall. That is going to send us to the Napa Auto Parts post-game show, where Jordan Swick will be joined alongside Matsu Minor skipper Ben Taylor, and I'll be joined alongside the player of the game. We'll keep it a secret for now. Stay tuned, folks. We will be heading to the post-game shortly here on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. Dan Collins alongside Matsu Miner's starting pitcher Jordan Frederick here on your Napa Auto Parts postgame show. Jordan going 6 innings tonight, giving up 2 hits, no runs, no walks, and 5 Ks. And Jordan, you're making somewhat of a spot start here for the Miners this evening. And how did it feel to do everything in your power that you can to be as efficient as possible to score 6 to throw? Check that, 6 innings of scoreless baseball.
Felt great. I wanted to go out, give our team a chance to win. It was a little short notice on the start, but I just wanted to do what I could. Had a great defense behind me the whole game. Hitters warmed up. They got a couple runs on the board for us.
Yeah.
Made it really easy for me.
And even with that short notice, you still go out there, 6 innings scoreless and the 5 strikeouts. So what exactly did you have working for you on the bump this evening?
Most of my stuff was working. Grills was calling a great game. Everything was just going right. I was doing what I could.
Yeah, absolutely. And you did absolutely a fantastic job. You did give your team a chance to earn the victory. However, they don't. They fall by a score of 3-2. But regardless, the regular season now over here, and the Miners will remain at Herman Brothers Field for as long as they wish. At least they could go as long as August 7th if you guys want. That would be if we make it to the second round. Here's to hoping. And finally, time, we talked about it right before we jumped on, time for some playoff baseball. So what's the feeling like in the clubhouse?
Oh, everyone's excited for it. This is what we've all been waiting for. We clinched the home field advantage for the whole playoffs, and we're all just ready to go.
And what does that mean, clinching home field advantage for the entire playoffs? So we're going to kick it off here tomorrow night against the Anchorage Bucks, 6 p.m. start. And just one more time on that meaning here, playing at Herman Brothers Field in front of the home crowd.
It's big. We have a great fan base here. Everyone gets into the game. It really gets us all going too.
So definitely ready for the playoffs tomorrow night, are we? You and the rest of the crowd.
Absolutely.
All right, well, Jordan, thanks for joining us, and heck of a game for you, buddy. One more time, 6 innings pitched, only 2 hits, no runs, no walks, and 5 strikeouts for Jordan Frederick. When we return, it'll be Jordan Swig joined alongside Matsu Miner skipper Ben Taylor here on your Napa Auto Parts postgame show.
Welcome into your Napa Auto Parts postgame show. I'm currently here with the skipper, Ben Taylor of the Matsu Miners. And, Coach, it was a 3-2 defeat here today, but a good effort by the Miners here today. And just talk about Jordan Frederick's.
Freddie was
start.
awesome, man. He's thrown some big innings for us all summer and some really important innings. And, he did a fantastic job for us and allowed us to save our bullpen going forward into the playoffs.
Yeah, and a more generic topic, yesterday, the Miners were able to clinch that number 1 seed. And we will be hosting the Anchorage Bucks here. And just last year was in the top of the College World Series was, maybe something that the Miners wanted to capitalize on that point. But now it's going to be a rematch this year. Is there going to be any kind of revenge? And what's the team's mindset?
No, it's every game's worth the same. And we take it day by day and we just go out and do our thing and, compete hard and, play for each other.
So now that the regular season is over, what are your thoughts going into the series against the Bucks?
I think that I'm really excited about our chances in the playoffs, and I love this baseball team, and I'm very, very proud to coach this baseball team every night.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, good luck in the playoffs. As I'll be rejoined by Dan Collins when we come back here on the Matsu Miners Radio Network.
All right, Dan Collins joined alongside my broadcast partner, Jordan Swick here. We're going to wrap things up for the final time in the regular season. The Miners fall here by a score of 3-2. We were actually just joined in between the little break we had here by one of the Oilers broadcasters, Casey. And he was telling us they're definitely going back to Kenai. So there you have it. They're going to be going back to Kenai. We're staying here, hopefully, for 2 rounds.
Yeah, let's hope that's the case. The Miners looking to get that first ABL title since the 2010 season. And, this is a pretty good team. This is a team that's had a lot of changes since the very start of the season.
Yeah.
A lot of changes to the roster. Some players didn't come up. Some players had to go back, and some good players too. So, the Miners have a good team here. And, if the Miners are able to capitalize or to take that ABL title, man, it would be a tremendous story because the team that they have right here, what is it, 7 weeks now that they've been in first place? 7, very close to that much.
Almost forever. They're going to end the season here, even with the loss. Their conference record is going to be 26-18. The the Oilers, check that, will improve to 24-20. We're still the first place ball club.
Yeah, absolutely. And it has to feel really good. That 1 seed, the Miners are able to host the entire playoffs of this. So we have our game tomorrow. The first playoff game tomorrow at 6 p.m. against the Anchorage Bucks. And we keep mentioning that it's going to be a very important game. We hope the Miners are able to take that first game because that really sets the tone throughout the playoffs.
All right, well, that's the next time you'll hear from us. Tomorrow night at 6 p.m., game 1 of round 1 of the ABL playoffs, the Miners versus the Bucks, here on your Matsu Miners Radio Network. And that wraps things up here in the broadcast. The Miners falling to the Oilers by a score of 3-2. It is going to be Junior Ramirez who receives the W, and Gage O'Brien is going to be tagged with the loss. Credit Justin Montgomery with the save. And we'd like to wrap up our broadcast by always extending a special thank you to both Pete and Denise Christopher. And for my broadcast partner, Jordan Swick, our special guest, Kevin Christopher, and our media manager, Josh Grissom, I'm Dan Collins saying I'll catch you on the flip side here on your Matsu Miners Radio Network.